Hallo Leute, ich bin Maria Athena.
Super. Ich bin auch die Maria Athena. Und du, Michelle, bist du Maria Athena oder was? My sister's over there. We're chilling.
Schau mal.
Das ist meine Schwester Maria Athena. Und das ist eine
My sister's over there trying to speak German with us. This live chat is going to be predominantly in English. I mean, there could be a second or two where we're talking in Chinese and or German and or whatever language.
I don't know German.
Yeah, so that's kind of how it's going to be. But let's send this link to all of our friends.
I feel like
Autocorrect always wants to tell me that I'm talking about a lime chat when I write live chat. That is not what this is, though.
Ian, I enjoy a good chat about limes. We were just watching Talking Bread.
Yeah,
and
so
I feel like a lime adaptation of that could really be a hit.
I know. I mean, I've occasionally had limes in drinks.
We could talk
Occasionally
about
they are on a
Lyme's
citrus
disease. We could talk about how to
something
prevent
different.
scurvy. We could talk about lime dancing, like a variation of line dancing. A
Yeah.
bread pussy.
All right. So basically, we are here just filming this briefly. We're not sure exactly how long this is going to last for, but we are currently at my house. Julia's visiting from, if you want to share with the world where you're visiting from.
And I
A
live in
different
Maryland.
state. Yeah. But so she's up here visiting, and the last time I was down in Baltimore visiting, we were supposed to make a video about all of our study abroad facts and stuff that we had for you guys, because Julie here studied abroad in China. Sorry, I keep looking off the screen because I'm fooling around with some of the stuff to get it to be nice. But yeah, we were supposed to film. She's studied abroad in China. As you guys know, I've studied abroad in Germany, and we have made videos about learning languages together before in the past, and decided, okay, well, you know what, this time around, since we didn't get to film when I visited you the last time, let's just really quick do a live chat and
I have
answer
so
all the
much
questions we wanna
knowledge to
answer.
share, and I feel like I
Good.
would be depriving the world if I didn't share.
Mhm.
So
Well, this
there's
is
a
very
cat.
yeah, this is very last minute, as we said. So pretty
Is
much
there a feed where it's like, okay, can we watch that one where I can actually see
All right, we're
myself?
going in.
Sure.
Have a fun live chat.
Bye, Leo. And Michelle. The
all right.
best part
Hello
about
to our one
Maria's
viewer.
house is that they have a cat.
Yeah, but so basically, we want to talk about our study abroad programs, and there were a couple other topics I listed on Facebook. Mainly, just by making a live chat like this, we do not have to edit because it's taken a while in the past when we've edited videos together. And when I say we've edited them together, I mean it took a while for us to film them together. I was the one that did the editing later on, though, so that takes a little bit of time. But this way we can say everything that we want to say without time limits. Also, if you guys know, when you have a card for your camera, it doesn't just allow, at least my card doesn't allow me to film for like 8 hours. Mine, it has a half-hour limit on it currently. And I know that I need a new card. I know that I need to get more than one so I can just film, and then be fine. But, you know. So, you studied abroad in China.
I did.
What did you need to actually go over there?
So at the time, well, obviously the first thing, if you're going anywhere, if I don't look at the camera, no one hate me.
It's a live chat. It's chill.
So like, the first thing you need is a passport.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, I think I already had one. If not, I had to like get mine renewed or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
well, because you've been out of the country before, you've been to.
Yeah, I'd been out of the country, but not for like a few years, and I might have had it renewed or something. I don't know. But so like a passport. Then with China specifically, the big thing is the visa, because like I know you were able to go to Germany without a visa, weren't you?
At first, yeah.
At first,
if you're
yeah.
going at least from
Like-
the U.S. to Germany, you need 90 days. Within 90 days, you can stay in Germany. But if you're staying for longer, you need a visa that corresponds appropriately to the reason why you're there. So I got a student visa, which I got it. You know, I applied right after I arrived in Germany, and then just had that for the whole rest of the year that I was there. So
Yeah, with China, it's a lot different that like you need a visa to like book the flight, I think. And like to get into the country, you need the visa already in your hand. So I live near Washington, D.C., so I went to the consulate there, like at the Chinese embassy, and got my visa taken care of. And so the way the Chinese visa used to work, under my understanding, I've only done the process once, so I'm by no means an expert, but like I knew that I wanted to travel around a little bit more while I was going to be in China, so I made sure to get a visa that had multiple re-entries into China, because like I could get my visa in the US, go to China, and my destination where I was studying was Beijing. So I could get to Beijing, but then like if I decided to go to Tokyo in Japan, with the visa, if I didn't get the multiple entries, I wouldn't be able to go back into China after that. Like the visa was for one thing. So I made sure to get multiple entries because I did end up going to Hong Kong. And yes, Hong Kong is like considered like another country in like its own kind of way. So like you need a visa to go in and out of there. But now, as of like a week ago, my Chinese professor, who is from China and all that, but she just got her US citizenship like a week ago.
Congrats on that. I know people that were studying for the US citizenship test, and I actually, a coworker of mine was studying for it and like was carpooling with me to and from work. So I got to listen to the questions that would be on the exam for a couple weeks as they led up to taking it.
Random side note, the priest who said the mass when you came to my church a few weeks ago, he just got his US citizenship.
Huh,
it's that time of the year.
Yeah,
anyways.
Everybody wants it for the summer.
Excuse me, I'm a little bit sick. So my Chinese professor was just telling me that I think they changed kind of the way that the visas are processed now, and that now if you get a visa for China, it's good for 10 years, which is awesome. So I really want to get mine now while that's like a thing, and then I'll have from now till 2025 to be able to go to China all I want for the, I mean, obviously flights and money are a thing too, but flight to China from the US is not cheap. I don't think a flight to China is really cheap from anywhere.
Did you fly directly, or did you have like layovers when you went?
My flight there, I flew from DC to Chicago and then from Chicago to Beijing. I could have done a direct flight, but like the program that I was going to, it was through a university that's based in Chicago and not through our home university in Maryland. So it made more sense for me to get on the flight in Chicago with like other people that were also going to the same place, and we'd all arrive at the same time. But my flight back was directly from Beijing to DC. Yeah,
I flew directly to, actually no I did not. I stopped in Belgium for like 5 seconds, a hot set. It was 2 hours, but I got.
Did you have a walk?
I did. Honestly, I was a tourist. I was there for 2 hours, and it was like, what else was I gonna do? I gotta walk.
Well, when I was in Chicago, because I had never been to Chicago before, and I didn't even leave the airport, but I had a deep dish pizza at the airport.
See, I thought you
it
were
was a
say
personal
you just
size.
Cracked a window to see how windy it actually was, and we're like, this is contrary to what I've heard about how windy the city is. Chicago is known as a windy city if you are unfamiliar with or like not even a stereotype, just shit people
city
call
nicknames in the U.S.
Yeah, it's, I don't know if there's an actual report on how windy
known
it is,
as Charm City. Any of
what?
you out there are thinking,
there.
oh, Baltimore sounds charming. They call it Charm City. It's not.
Yeah, I lived in Baltimore for 3 years. Did not really see too much of it, but I would still, I don't know, Charm City.
The charm was very much hiding somewhere where we could not find it.
It's probably in the inner harbor.
There's a lot of
nice
benches
restaurants
in the city
there
that
and museums,
say
so.
The greatest city in America. No.
As you can tell, we're going to try and stay on topic, but we will definitely go off the beaten track while we're talking. But so you said that to get to China, you needed a special visa that would allow you re-entry into the country. How difficult was the application process for that?
I don't remember if there was really anything I did. Like, I remember the specific day that I went to the consulate. I can't really remember if there's anything I had to do before that day. But so this was all during the summer of 2012, and I knew that I wanted to go to El Salvador that summer too, which I had been doing for a few summers. And I knew that while my visa was processing to go to China, I couldn't leave the US and go anywhere else while it was processing. But I knew that I wanted to leave the US and go somewhere else.
Yeah,
so,
that stinks when there's like really specific protocol like that.
So my mom and I picked a good day to go because she was, helping me. And I think it was maybe like a $25 fee for them to process it the same day, which I was like, for $25, I'll do it.
Yeah.
So, I think my mom actually paid for it, but that's not an important point. But so we went, we looked online, I guess, at their hours or called them. And so they had a morning session and then an hour or two for lunch and then the afternoon session. So all you had to do was make sure that you got there in the morning and then they could process it during that lunch hour and then do the rest. So we got there. There was a bunch of paperwork to fill out while you were there, but it was all the normal name, address, where and why are you going. And it wasn't, anything too complicated, and they processed it the same day for me. And like I said, I just made sure to get the one that had multiple entries because I knew I wanted to go in and out of the country.
Yeah, so, but you also went through our home university, or it was an exchange, or how was that program actually
So, do you have any qualms if I talk about our university?
No, I don't care. I don't even go there. I don't even go there.
She doesn't even go here.
Because I graduated from college. So.
Our home university is a Jesuit university, which is a certain kind of Catholic university. And so the program in China that I was going to, it's called the Beijing Center. If anyone watching this thinks they want to go to Beijing to study abroad, it's a really good school. And I just saw something on Facebook, I think the other day, that they were voted one of the top China study abroad programs for specifically Americans, I think, but the group that I went with was extremely multicultural, and there were people from Germany in my group too.
Well, also our university that we went to is really well known for having an extremely high turnover rate of students that go study abroad.
It's more than 50%, I think.
Yeah, it's most juniors, from what I recall. There's every year the entire junior class would just
pretty much
disappear for the most part.
So, I went to a Jesuit we went to a Jesuit university, and so the program in China was basically for a bunch of different Jesuit universities all go there to study, and it's a Jesuit program. I mean, you can go obviously if you're not Catholic, but it's just run by the Jesuits. So there's a university in Chicago, Loyola, that is a Jesuit university, and they kind of are the home base in America for the school. So it was all through them that they processed my credits, and I had to register for my classes through their website and all that, and talking to their study abroad coordinators and stuff. But in the two, my university and the university in Chicago were good at communicating, and then also the school in China was all kind of a really well-oiled machine of all working together.
Well, because mine was, I explained to you a lot of the problems of my study abroad. It was kind of a shit show. No offense to, it wasn't either of the universities, I would say's fault. It was just that the American program has no idea how the German system works. And so I would get emails, when are your exams? We need these grades. We need all of this information that I can't give you because literally, I can't tell you what classes I'm taking before they're even made available on clips. My cat is watching us film this from the window. But, I had lots of difficulties because it was just an outdated program too, where the last person who had gone, it was one girl went several years before I had gone, and just they didn't really update their knowledge of each of the programs. Yeah. So
definitely the study abroad advisor that we personally had at our university, you could distinctly tell that she had no idea what was going on.
I mean, we had different advising people.
And so like Maria was saying before, a lot of people at our university study abroad. And so there's a whole bunch of the study abroad advisors that all work in the international programs office. And so, mean, there's a whole bunch of different programs in like all kinds of countries. And so I got the impression that like whoever was in charge of the China program beforehand, like must have just left very suddenly.
Yeah.
And the woman that was then put in charge of it was just kind of like dropped in her lap, like, oh no, what do I do with this?
Mm-hmm.
So luckily though, the people at the university in Chicago that we were working with were like, they knew what was happening though, and they were really good at staying in contact with us. And like the woman that we had at Loyola, you could tell she was trying her best, but like she didn't know anything about China. She had never been, like, and she's all of a sudden stuck running this program. So like I felt bad for her, but it worked out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my experience was a lot different from yours too, because when you went, it was just you going.
Yeah, that was the other thing, was it wasn't an actual like a group exchange. I basically, when I was there, like I participated in programs that Erasmus students were doing, which I'm not too familiar about the details of Erasmus, but basically it's like a study abroad program that I think is open to most European countries, possibly a few other ones. But so all of the students who were there were from other European countries, or they were all from European countries. Except then I think like 2 from Africa came the second semester. But, you know, I hung out and did their programs, but I technically wasn't an Erasmus student. I was just like a person who was kind of there.
Yeah. So my program, I really enjoyed it because I think in total from our university, there were 11 of us who all went, and that was just from my university. The program in total, I think it was about 60 of us the semester I was there. I mean, we had people, I'll say maybe 45, 50 of us were American, but then a good chunk of people still, like, 10, 15 people we had people from Colombia, some from Mexico, some from the Philippines, some from Germany, Portugal, Brazil, I'm forgetting the name of one country. There were some from Africa, Zambia, that's what I was looking for. Anyways, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it was nice because not only was I going to China, but then just within the group of people I was studying with and taking my classes with, there was a French guy in my Chinese class and a Portuguese man and a Brazilian guy. So like Chinese professor, and then still like totally multicultural in the actual classroom too.
Well, so did you, like, when you were there, did you, like, mostly make friends with other exchange students, or, like, also with natives? How did that work out?
The majority of my friends were definitely the, group of 60 of us that were all there to study abroad for the semester. And so, you don't know all this, but, like, when we first got there, we had a week worth of orientation in Beijing, and then immediately afterwards, we embarked on a 2-week-long trip along the Silk Road.
Was it a journey into the West?
It was the journey eastward.
Okay, well,
No.
I was trying to make a literature
westward
reference. So.
But so anyways, in the West, and journey to the West they are referring to as India. Anyways. What?
A comment under the video.
Oh.
Great info up in her.
Oh.
You're welcome.
So we went on the Silk Road, and so you're 2 weeks with like the same 60 people all on like a bus and going from hotel to hotel.
Who went stir crazy? Everybody?
I'd say
Some
about,
people?
It was like my only experience of being like, this is what a band on tour must feel like. And so.
Who was the Gustav though?
The bus driver.
The Gustav Schaefer of the group.
So we went all the way from Beijing all the way out to, I believe it was Lhasa in Tibet, and then like all the way back. I actually missed the second half of that trip because I had health complications, but that's a totally different story. But
shit happens.
So like in those 2 weeks, like right as soon as we got there, basically, you got really close with everyone else who was there. But then when we got back and we started our classes, again, it was like mostly just those group of 60 of us in our different classes.
Mm-hmm.
But we were living on the campus of like a bigger university in Beijing, UIBE, the University of International Business and Economics, I think. I forget the Chinese name for it. But so I made friends on campus too, and like they tried to get us to like get involved in a lot of stuff. Like I was involved in their fine arts club for the
Ooh,
semester I
that's
was there.
cool.
So like I got to participate in a dance recital, which was really kind of cool. And so like I made some friends doing that. And they tried to get us to volunteer to like teach some of their English classes while we were there, even just like 1 day's worth of class, not like the whole semester class to teach it. And so I made a lot of friends through that. That's how I met my friend Poppy, who's one of my best friends in the whole world right now. Or now, not right now. Anyways.
Yeah.
Poppy, if you're watching this, I love you. Just kidding. She's in China. She can't watch YouTube.
That is when we get later on to some of the difficulties you experienced. I think internet connections is going to be definitely.
I was going to say,
things
on
up
the
there.
list of things I needed before I left is definitely a VPN.
Yeah, but like how you were saying, you got really in with like the exchange crowd. I remember like I made friends with a lot of the exchange students. Like, I don't know if any of you guys are watching this, but like, you know, at my dormitory they put it was just a Studentenwohnheim, and the first floor was all kids that were not German, all foreign exchange students. Actually, maybe there were like 2 German guys on that floor, like a handful. There was a decent number of foreign exchange students though who were on that floor, and so like I became friends with pretty much my next door neighbors, and then a group of British kids who like kind of all hung out, like a little bit cliquish, very nice. Nothing against cliques sometimes, but you know, like sometimes we would chat in English, sometimes we would chat in German, but like most of the time though, I made friends with the Germans because when I was, I don't know, like my first couple days there, when I was going around with all the exchange students and everyone was assigned a buddy, so we ran around with our buddies. People thought that I was one of the buddies for the most part, and like so I was kind of already in with the buddy crowd before I really got to know the exchange students. But yeah, mostly like probably 40% of my time was spent with like exchange students, and then the rest was spent with just native Germans.
An interesting aspect of my program was that you could choose whether or not you wanted to live with a Chinese roommate or just another roommate, like someone else who was in the program with you, so most likely an American because it was mostly Americans. And I regret to this day not signing up to live with a Chinese roommate, but I was so nervous about going that I was like, if there's going to be like cultural differences between us, it's going to be like awkward in the room. Like that's like, so I was just nervous about it. So I had an American roommate and she was really fine. But so the group of like the Chinese roommates who lived with different people in our program, they were kind of like assigned the task of like being our tour guides for like the whole group. They were a really great bunch of people. So I spent a lot of time with them, and they organized all kinds of events for us to go to different places around the city. Like even just the first days during orientation, like would take us to get our cell phones programmed and put them into
handies.
English for us.
Your handies.
And they showed me how to eat with chopsticks.
Which this has become a thing recently. I work with one woman from Mauritius and one woman from the Philippines, and we were all talking about like how frequently we eat Chinese, Asian cuisine. I say Chinese and then I follow that up with Asian because like it's just. I mean, I eat Vietnamese, Chinese, Indonesian.
And plus in America, half the time it's all just in one place.
Yeah,
anyway, of like, it's an Asian food restaurant.
Well, even like I work at a Mediterranean grill and bar and like hookah bar, and it's run by an Egyptian family, but they have Greek food, they have some Egyptian food, they have like some Turkish food. It's just, a conglomeration. Yeah, that was the word that I was looking at too. Which
such a random word.
Yeah, conglomeration. Conglomerate. It's a good
Entertainment
word.
720.
Yeah.
Media conglomerate. That's all I can think of.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Is Parks and Rec popular in Germany?
Honestly, I do not know.
I'm just assuming that everyone watching this is German. I don't know.
It could be. I haven't looked at my statistics within the last couple weeks, but yeah, the majority of my channel is German-speaking people watching from Germany, followed by I think Denmark, USA, England and Austria currently.
See, I'm trying to read the comments, but like I have no idea what they say, except that one says Angie.
Uh-huh. Well, also, if you guys post your questions, I would apologize for this video being in English, but I've realized that it's stupid to apologize for speaking your own language.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I've bitched to you about this 800 bazillion times because we used to live together in college, but, like, I've been called lazy when I produce content in my native language because I could have produced it in German, but I chose not to. Therefore, lazy. And I'm like, Stephen Hawking produces content in his native language. I don't see people bitching at him. I'm just kidding. I'm not comparing myself to Stephen Hawking. I'm just saying.
Side rant off of that on a similar point. Because, like, you know, I know several different languages and specifically spent a good chunk of time living in China.
Do you want to quickly just list your languages in case people don't know?
So English is my native language. I learned Spanish in school. I took Latin in high school, but, like, don't speak that. But and then in college I studied Mandarin, Chinese, and Italian. So occasionally, like, I feel like this is probably mostly an American thing, but like, nah, I'm not 100% sure.
Also, know that when we make generalizations about like, it's an American thing, we say this having like been to a lot of countries and like actively being interested in culture and language learning. It's not like, you know, just two people just being like, I think it's like this here. It's like, no, we thought about this a lot.
Yeah.
Like, and have done a lot of reading and research, media immersion, language immersion.
My
everything.
major is comparative cultures.
Yeah. So that's a mouthful.
But like in America, I've noticed like just with friends and like family and stuff that if we're walking around somewhere in public and there's other people there that may be speaking another language that is very clearly not English, other people seem to be very annoyed by this. Like, you're in America, you should be speaking English. Like, it makes me uncomfortable. Like, they might be talking about me right now. It's like, well, why do you care?
And I'm like, let me just, what are you guys saying? And I will eavesdrop on literally everybody.
And on several occasions when friends and family have made these kinds of comments, I've turned it around since I've been to China now. I was like, okay, so like when I was in China, I was not going to speak Chinese with my other American friends just so that everyone else around us felt more comfortable. Like, we're going to speak English together because we're two Americans. I don't care where we are. Mm-hmm. And the one day I was sitting at the bank with my friend Becca when we were in China. We were waiting to get American cash before we went home.
Yeah.
So
that's the unnecessary
We're
thing.
sitting there and you're just chatting in English because we're two 20-year-olds that were born and raised in America, and people are looking at us like, who are these people and why are they just sitting in the bank speaking English? And I was like, honestly, well, sorry.
That's like kind of when I meet new people in Germany, and I've told you about this, but like I meet new people and they find out where I'm from and they're kind of like, why? Like, why are you here? Like, who are you? It's so funny. Which is why I keep saying that the lie I need to start telling people is that I'm actually German, because like it's too long of a story.
Can I tell them the Starbucks story?
Yeah, go ahead. This is great. Because she came to visit me.
When Maria was, do they know where you were?
Yeah, I was in Koblenz.
So when Maria was in Koblenz, I went to visit her for a week over my spring break. And we went to Starbucks one day because we're Americans.
Starbucks is, there are Starbucks a lot.
Oh, it's as big there. Okay.
It's not, I wouldn't say it's as big.
I would call it an epidemic here.
Yeah.
So we went to Starbucks, and I made a foolish attempt to try to order in German. I started to say what I wanted in German, and then the like barista or whatever like interrupts me. He's like, "Are you American? Like, we can just speak English." I was like, "Got it." So I give him my order in English, and then Maria had just ordered ahead of me, though. I mean, she speaks German. She had ordered in German and all that flawlessly. And so
flawless German skills, flawless.
So the barista says to me, he's like, "Oh, like, you're American. Like, what are you doing in Germany? You know, like, how long are you here? Whatever." And I gestured towards Maria, and I said, "Oh, like, I'm here visiting my friend." And I think he asked, like, "Oh, how do you guys know each other?" I said, "Oh, well, she goes to college with me. Like, we were roommates last year at college, and, like, we go to school together in America." and he seemed very confused. Like, in his mind, he thought Maria was German.
Everybody
like,
thinks I'm like
she was an
pretty much
exchange student in America, but now she's back in Germany in the middle of
Yeah.
the school year, but then she's going back to America. Like, what? And I was like,
Yeah.
oh no, she's American. Like, we go to school in
And
America
I've been
together.
going there for months. I like knew those people casually.
And he like was shocked and amazed that she was one, not German, and two, that she was American.
Well, that's like, you know, I was at Hifna or Hiffa. Yeah, the bakery.
My favorite German
And-
place. It's a fine establishment.
They had excellent cafe lattes there.
Though my one
actually.
pet peeve is that, like, and you were telling me, like, to use their Wi-Fi and just like sit in there, like, you had to buy something. That wouldn't
Well-
happen in a McDonald's here.
Oh, I buy stuff if I go to the McDonald's for the Wi-Fi, but that's just me.
Oh, was that just a you thing and not just
I-
like a German culture thing?
No, I think that's people usually like they buy the stuff when they're going to use Wi-Fi. But
No.
anyways, like when I was there tutoring this one time, and after the session, I was like wrapping up my stuff, and the barista says to me something along the effects of like, "Oh, your English sounds really good," and I'm just thinking, but what about my Deutsch? Like I can't.
You see, that's the difference between Maria studying abroad in Germany versus me going to China. Like, even if my Chinese was flawless, I don't think I was tricking anyone into thinking,
Yeah.
like, she must be Chinese. Like, really on point.
Yeah. Well, so back to the study abroad, where we were talking about exchange students living in exchange student housing.
Mhm.
Speaking of the housing, how was your internet connection?
First of all, okay. So the housing that I had in China, the room that I had, it was me and one other person, and we had like a little balcony, and then like the bathroom was like in our room.
Mhm.
So it was basically kind of like your typical like hotel setup.
Okay.
Kind of thing, like 2 beds, there's a bathroom in your room, and then like a little balcony. I was very distinctly under the impression that they purposely put all of the foreign students in this building that was like fairly nice.
Yeah.
Because the rest of the dorms I saw were not very nice, like to the point that it was like scary how bad they were. Like too many people living in too small of a room. But I don't know for sure because we weren't allowed to go into any of the other dorms.
Mhm.
But so the internet connection is a struggle in China.
Everything is a
Specifically, this was in 2012. So like things might have changed and gotten worse and better. And it kind of waxes and wanes in China.
Mhm.
But in general, I knew going into it, I wasn't like, at our school at home, we just have like Wi-Fi on campus.
And like if you can't like what we're used to in America, and this is actually like a stereotype I've heard about Americans, is how they'll be the first people to ask for a Wi-Fi at anyone's house or anybody's
It's the first thing I did last
establishment.
night when we went to
Yeah.
your place.
Well, like that's the thing is like a joke that people, at least on Tumblr, I've seen say
Yeah,
over here is
yeah.
that like home is where you automatically connect to the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, which I took note of when I arrived at Maria's house this
But so
weekend.
we're used to having like even at school, even if the internet connection in our dorms was slow, it was still like
Working.
extremely fast,
Yeah.
like just slower than usual. Like we're very
And if it
privileged
was
when it comes
slow,
to
we
internet
realized it
connections.
was a first world kind of problem.
yeah,
So in China, I knew that it was probably just going to be like certain areas on campus would I be able to get onto Wi-Fi. And I knew that even when I had a Wi-Fi connection, it was going to be restricted to only certain websites.
Mhm.
And so there was a tool that I found online that, if anyone's interested in it, you could probably just Google something along the lines of like Chinese website checker. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like you could put in like the URL of a website and it would like tell you whether or not you can access it in China at like that current time. And so, obviously the big things like Google, Facebook, YouTube, like under Google and all that weren't going to work. And even our school had told us ahead of time, like, sometimes students when they're there, they have problems accessing their email accounts if it's through Gmail,
Mhm.
or even just like our school accounts. So
Well, I know that we like talk pretty regularly. Yeah.
Well, so what I did, and I actually didn't do this until I got to China, but now if I was giving advice to anyone who's going to China, I would recommend you do it before you even leave for China, is download a VPN. I forget what exactly that stands for, but it's basically the thing, like software that allows you to tell your computer, I'm not in Beijing right now, I'm really in Austin, Texas, which is where my computer thought I was.
My computer doesn't know, this is a newer computer. It does not know where I am. It's always like, is this English or German? Like it's in German. It thinks that I'm in Germany, but I have it programmed to America, but it just won't like be okay with that. It doesn't want me to be intercultural or anything. Or
from what I understand, I think a lot of other countries, like some of my friends who live in Europe, are very familiar with VPNs because, like, I know on like the Swedish version of Netflix, they do not have access to the same movies that we do in America on Netflix. So they have like that Ola app on Google Chrome that you can like switch your country and whatever. So some of you guys might be way more familiar with this concept than I ever was before. But so I was able to download, and I had one that you pay for, and I think it was maybe like $10 a month. And I was there for 4 months, but I was like, for $40 to be able to use all the websites that I normally use, like that's worth it to me.
Especially if the alternative is not being able to access them pretty much at all. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if nothing else, I was there to study and do schoolwork, and the majority of how I know how to do research, at least starts in a Google search bar. That sounds really bad.
Well, no,
but like to start getting an idea of things, and like that's just like the way that I know how to go through it. And I didn't know what other websites like I wouldn't be able to use. So I was like, if I'm doing schoolwork, like I need to be able to operate the way that I normally operate.
I mean, let's face it. If I couldn't access my scholarly journals to get my psychology research,
well, yeah, there's Google Scholar.
Yeah, there is Google Scholar. It's just,
yeah,
like that is like when we did our university has this library how to research things because people are dumbasses. And
hey, I'm one of those dumbasses. You watch yourself.
Well, anyways, people can be dumbasses when it comes to like looking at a website and being like, no, this looks legit, and you're like, the font is
Comic Sans.
Yeah. Like, it's not. I mean, I would not legit, pick that as my aesthetic for my website if I wanted it to be a legit website. But
I look for papyrus.
But in the list of like how to get started doing a search for terms that you need to write a paper, they did explain how to effectively use Google, how to effectively use Wikipedia, and how that can be good starting points at least. Like obviously you can't just have one source and that source be just
it's a good
Google search
jumping
bar,
off part.
Yeah.
So I paid for a VPN and was able to use Skype, Facebook, Google, everything as I normally would. And the one I had was Astral, if anyone's looking for a recommendation. That worked really well for me. Then again, this was also like almost 3 years ago. I have no idea what works now.
Yeah.
Currently, like a few days ago, I was talking to my friend Poppy, who still lives in China, and we were having all kinds of issues trying to like get our FaceTime call to stay active because her VPN was not working, and I think they've cracked down a lot on it more recently. But so the whole internet thing was just an issue, and it cost about 100 kwai, which is around $20 maybe. Is a conversion that I can't do in my head.
Yeah, I'm just so used to like it was weird because the euro rate has changed recently, like pretty drastically from before. And so when I did the conversion, I was like super like I did my regular conversion, which has been about the same amount. Like pretty much every time I've had euros, it's a similar conversion rate. But like this time I was like off by like 50 euros. I was like, what?
It's about 6 Chinese renminbi or kwai or yuan or whatever you want to call it to a US dollar. So about 100's like around 17, 18. At least this is what it was 3 years ago. I don't think it's changed too drastically since then. But so that was the price that it was for me to be able to get an Ethernet connection in my room, like my dorm room while I was there, which again, for like less than $20 for 4 months, I considered that worth it.
Yeah.
And so then I could use the internet on an Ethernet cord in my room. And then in our dorm, they had 2 different lounges specifically just for the people who were there in our study abroad program that had Wi-Fi. Excuse me.
That's nice. You know,
Yeah.
that they had like actual like Wi-Fi somewhere, because it's just, I mean, when I was in my dorm, there was Wi-Fi on campus, and my dorm was literally across the street from the campus, but I couldn't actually access the campus Wi-Fi from there. Like I had to actually be on campus for that. So I had an Ethernet cable for my internet at the
So
dorm.
like my dorm, I lived on the 5th floor, and like down on the 2nd or 3rd floor, there was a lounge with like a bunch of couches and TVs and like a big table to study and eat at. But like there was Wi-Fi in there, and then like down in the basement of the building there was another lounge too, and they were both really big, and like it was kind of nice because it kind of like forced you to like go and like sit in a room full of people instead of just sitting in your room as I probably would have done otherwise.
Yeah. I mean, like you know, at my university, there were also computer labs at the University of Koblenz, which that was nice. Like I would take my laptop even, and I would go in there with my laptop, but then I would also be, you know, I would have my research be on the regular computer, and I would only use 2 computers when there were like hardly any other people there. But like I would have my computer open, and I would type everything to the one side, and then I could just have all of my other files open in front of me. But like it was actually, that was one of the more difficult things about my study abroad. Like one of the more problematic things, at least coming from someone who's used to school in America. If you're unfamiliar with like how it kind of, at least how I think both of us experienced it, our roommates experienced it, was that in America, or at least at our university, I'm going to say at our university, the computer labs were open till, what was it, 2 a.m.?
I didn't know they had a time limit.
Yeah, I think like it was just like at least the building. No, I think I went there like later. I think it was maybe some of the print labs closed at certain times.
Well,
but
what I'm thinking is
maybe it's the library closed at that time.
Yeah, that's definitely it. The dorm that I lived in my freshman year, and then the dorm that we both lived in together our sophomore year, they both had computer labs like just on the first floor of the dorm, which I loved. And then like the next 2 years of school, we were in like a different style dorm where it was like just like apartments, like 4 apartments to like one little building.
Yeah.
So like they didn't have computer labs in them. But that was a big adjustment because like I got so used to because like when we lived in that one building sophomore year, like you could just go downstairs any time of the night and use it because it was in the building.
You know.
Whereas then, you know, living where I did junior year and where we lived senior year, you had to go to some of like the more like the academic buildings on campus to use a computer lab, and those, yeah, I think did close at a certain time.
Yeah, I think some of them did. It was just that like,
but not everyone's a night owl, Maria.
Yeah, honestly, my schedule. If you would look at my like what our one roommate Petra, hi Petra, if you're watching, and I did end of senior year.
Don't recommend.
Getting ready for our exams. Like we both had tons of papers to write, tons of exams to study for. So we would just like, we didn't even really sleep. And this is like, I'm explaining this because I feel like this is a little bit extreme, but like it's a little bit extreme, but not that much more extreme than like what I would call a typical college experience. If you go on Tumblr and look up like college sleep deprivation, there you go. That's like all the information you need. But basically, we did not actually sleep on like a regular schedule for several weeks. We would take 3 to 5 hour naps or like 30-minute ones, like occasionally, where it was just like, you know, you would do research for 6 hours, take a 2-hour nap,
watch Breaking Bad for
a week, and then
join reality again.
Yeah, rejoin reality. But then you would do you know, maybe 3 more hours of study, and then like go take your exam. Like it would, and we would just both be out in our common room we had an apartment with like 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a kitchen and a dining room and a living room. But
and a dank ass hallway.
Yeah, it was this long hallway that was really dark. It was
like
so
if
strange.
someone was standing at the end of it, they were there to murder you.
Yeah, but we would just sit out in the common room the entire time and like, you know, wake each other up from naps. But like pretty much like I would describe it as being up 24 hours a day, but then you take naps of varying hours to basically get by.
I
And
was
like
not
you go
witness
crazy.
to this. I moved
go crazy.
out at that point because living with Maria was crazy.
Yeah.
It wasn't because of that, but
No.
it did get a little bit crazy.
Yeah, but so like with that whole schedule, that's like I don't know. I felt so much pressure where it's like you have all these things that we were given way too much work that you could actually do in the amount of time that was allotted you, at least for the classes that I took. And so
Sorry, there's bees over here
Yeah.
by me if you're wondering what I'm doing. Oh my god, get it away.
They're
I'm
chill
sorry.
bees. They're carpenter bees.
They're bumblebees. Oh my god, something's on my back.
You're good.
Okay, I'm sorry. Now that's on the internet forever.
No, it's cool. But so pretty much like I'm used to having to print things last minute, you know, like you gotta run like quick, you gotta go print this, like gotta, you know, do it right now. And it's like 4:45 in the morning because I know that I won't be able to wake up and get there before class because too many people go to the one that's across the bridge from our dorm. But so yeah, like then when I was in Germany, the main problem, to tie this all back to the original reason we got on this tangent, is that the print labs would close at an obnoxiously early hour. Obnoxiously early. It was like 9 p.m., maybe 10 on a Friday, and they weren't open on Sundays, I think.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I was like, how do students get things done? And it's well, I would just probably have to say that students get things done and that they have more time to actually do the things. Like you have more material that you can read at home, but it's not like you have to, as we had to do in many of our classes at school, you know, write a summary just to like prove to me that you read this. Here, answer this question. Yeah, like that's the face that I think that some teachers give when they give that kind of homework.
Yeah.
But like, you know,
That's why I don't do it.
so for me, one of the major difficulties besides just
Life.
lesser access to the internet, which I know everybody's like, oh, there's so much internet in Germany. There is. And I've heard Americans ask the question, is there internet in Germany? And yes, I agree that's a stupid question. But I would say if you ask the question, is internet access in Germany comparable to internet access in the States? Which it's like, let's go with pretty much overall coverage. Like, I don't know what bumblefuck area you're in if there's no internet. In Germany, it's not as accessible.
And when I went to visit you, I don't know
America.
if your situation specifically in your building was very different, but like, you know, like I said, I'm used to like when we're at campus at our school or like just coming to Maria's house, like we're just all on the Wi-Fi, whatever, it runs smoothly, cool. When I went to visit Maria in Koblenz, because she just had the Ethernet cable and she only had one, so like only one of us could be on the internet at a time.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was in like 2003 again, maybe.
Have to hang up that landline.
Where my brother and I used to share a screen name because we didn't know how to sign out of AOL.
Honestly, I just cried a little bit.
Yeah, like it literally brought me back to the days back when my family had dial-up. Like we could, like, only one of us could use the internet at a time, and my mom couldn't use the phone. Or anyone couldn't, but my mom's the only one who used to say, like, no, like, you couldn't use the phone, and then it's like, if you're on the internet too long, it's like, we might have missed a call from someone.
Yeah. But so what else would you say were, like, what did I list here? I said that we would talk, like, other main points from your study abroad in China, like, what was, from your experience, specific to studying abroad in China that wasn't specific to, you know, stories you heard from our friends that studied in Thailand or in Europe or in South America?
For the most part, two of our friends, Ellie and Lisa, hi.
We're using names. Nobody knows you.
Ellie and Lisa don't give a shit.
Let's be honest, they're not watching this.
Ellie's not even your real name.
You know what? That's fine.
Lisa screwed them.
Yeah.
So, two of our friends that we lived with senior year, they studied abroad in Thailand the same semester that I was in China and the first semester that Maria was in Germany, though we did not know them at the time.
Yeah.
And so,
well, I knew them. I'd actually.
all right. Well,
it was a
Maria's
weird,
really
like,
popular and cool and like great with people, and I'm not.
Yeah. So basically, I like switched roommates several times throughout college.
Who else did?
Yeah.
So they went to Thailand and they were there for like 6 months, I think. But their program was like, it was like from May to November, which was like a little bit weird. But overall, their experiences in Thailand don't sound too extremely different from China. Just like the overall, like, I'm thinking like they went like all through like Vietnam and like Cambodia and other Southeast Asian places. And like they took like the tuk-tuks or whatever they're called, like the transportation on the roads was very similar, it sounded like, and like getting on the trains and going to different restaurants to eat all sounded generally the same. But like I'm trying to think, because like I went to visit you in Germany just like a month or two after I got back from China.
Yeah,
because I remember I was on 3 continents in 3 months.
Yeah, that was a bragging, right?
Shut up.
Like, no, I mean, like that's impressive. So,
like, what was really different? And a big thing was I didn't have a kitchen in my dorm, and even if I did, like, one, it wasn't like I packed pots and pans in my suitcase to go to China, and I wouldn't have known where a American grocery store was to buy like pasta.
Well,
and like they have
your
noodles in
Galeria
China,
Kaufhof
obviously,
and
but, like,
your I'm trying to think of another grocery store. Your Aldi, you know, if only they had an American section like the ones that I would go to in Germany did, where.
Yeah, I went to a Chinese grocery store the one day, and like we had like a little like shop on campus, but there wasn't really anything. Wednesdays, my friends and I would always go to Pizza Hut after our classes because they have Pizza Hut in China.
Pizza Hut is also in Germany, and it is problematic for me personally as someone that loves Pizza Hut.
Oh God, I love it.
And they do not deliver. At least the one in Koblenz does not deliver.
Speaking of deliveries, in China, and the majority of Asia, from what I've understood, though someone can correct me if I'm wrong, McDonald's delivers.
If McDonald's delivered in America,
it's every pothead's dream.
You know what? Where is the lie?
Like KFC delivered, McDonald's delivered, Pizza Hut obviously delivered, like just everything delivered. It's like there's late night study sessions. You could get a McChicken sandwich in the middle of the night.
Well, as I recall, when I went to visit my friend Anne in Ireland, I like demanded, we got Pizza Hut several times because they had Pizza Hut and they delivered. And I was totally nuts when I went to Ireland because they had like a handful of American eateries that I was like I wanted to see how accurate it was. And they had like a legit, where were we? We were at Johnny Rockets. There was a Johnny Rockets that was an actual legit one that I was like, they have the best milkshakes and just onion rings and everything.
In general, yeah.
But yeah, like I remember, like I was so obsessed with getting takeout there just because it was takeout until 5 a.m. that you could have it sent to the dorm, and I was like, why would you not maximize your opportunity right here? But also because in Germany, it's called Lieferservice, or Lieferung is the term for doing your takeout. Really, there were like 8 or 9 places. The bees are.
I'm sorry, the bees are really bad. Like, it's staring at me. It wants to eat me. Okay.
Yeah. It's pretty chill.
Is it leaving?
You know what? Let's just pretend it's not there.
Okay, like, I have a serious issue with bugs, and, like, it's a bee on top of that. Like, oh, okay, we're switching sides. Like, I'm sorry.
It's cool.
Now, all of your viewers are going to think, like, I'm the world's biggest lame-o, but, like, I can't
it's cool. I get to sit in the sunny side this time.
I was going to say, I need to be in the shade anyways. I have delicate shoulders.
Yeah, but basically the Lieferservice, the service in Germany, it would end maybe 11 o'clock at the latest. And also there were only 8 or 9 places that I could actually order from. And it was like actually really difficult. Like I did have my own little kitchenette, so I was making a lot of food and stuff. And I had obviously access to the grocery stores when I was in Germany, because public transportation is on point and you can go anywhere in the town, pretty much anywhere. Or you can just go into town and then walk and then go back to the bus stop and then drive back. But so I, was also super used to working in, cooking food in my own kitchen, but still it was like, I would have liked I was used to also at our university being able to go till midnight or till, we had midnight breakfast at our school where they took fees from students, right? Like if you had a fine for doing whatever, they took the fees and that's what they used to sponsor midnight breakfast. That's what I thought. I thought that they took I thought they took fees from students who had to pay fines for academic discipline matters, and I thought that they used that and put it into providing us with midnight breakfast on weekend nights. Yeah, but so I was used to having that access, like food access, like 24/7, basically in America, and then not having that access in Germany as much, which I get. American supply and demand culture. I'm gonna plug in the laptop.
Okay. Another thing, this is probably mostly just specific to Beijing, really. Whereas in Koblenz isn't really like a big city, is it?
It's semi-big.
Okay.
Semi-big for that area.
Okay. So in Beijing, obviously, it's like Beijing, Shanghai, and like Hong Kong are really like the only things going on in China. That's like that would be like putting it like New York, LA, DC. Like that's all America has. But like a lot of people make that conclusion.
Vegas. And yeah, I agree.
But like that's glazing over it. So I was just about to do that too.
Okay, good.
So Beijing, it has like a really good subway system, and like literally the population of Beijing is like out of control. I'm pretty sure it was like 18 million, which last time I checked was like twice the population of the entire country of Sweden.
She has friends in Sweden. Sweden is like you're knowledgeable about Sweden to an extent. Well, anyways, I don't know about Sweden so much. So
well, Sweden knows about you.
You know what?
Is anyone watching from Sweden? Anyways. So
where are you guys from, and how well are you understanding us speaking English throughout this? Going off of that question,
so the subway system in Beijing is really good. The DTA. So like one of the first nights we were there, they took us actually out to like the Olympic Park in Beijing from the 2008 Olympics, which was really cool because like obviously I didn't have any interest in actually going to the Olympics, but like to see the places and stuff when it's not like as crazy was really cool.
Well, I went to the Greek ones, like after the Greek Olympics. Actually, I went before
they had the Olympics in Greece.
You know what? I have so many articles from everybody's gifts that year for Christmas were all everything from the Olympics.
Because like they started in Greece.
Well, yeah.
Oh my God.
But still.
Okay. So the bees are like this big, I kid you not. So the subway system was really good. So they took us to the Olympic Park, and then like the project was kind of like first to like get home on the subways. And we had like that group of like the Chinese roommates that were with us to help us get back. They didn't just like leave us there. But so like their subway system's really good. And because the population of Beijing is like so incredibly high for a city, and I'm pretty sure, and like I'm not exaggerating, that a train would come every minute, like in the subway. That like if you miss the first one, it's only like 60 seconds until the next one. And like most of the like in Beijing specifically, because it's like Beijing and it's huge, and like also just like a lot of international travel is there. In addition to having like the characters for like the city names and like places and stuff like that, it would have the pinyin too, like the phonetic spelling of it using like Latin letters, which was really useful because like a lot of the characters that they use for like places are like only specific to just like that place. Like it's not like a character that you would learn from like something else.
Yeah.
So it's like even if like I know like I need to go to like I can't even think of anything like Tiananmen Square, it's like I don't know the characters for Tiananmen Square. I just know TIA, like whatever. So they made like the maps really easy to read for like anyone, no matter where you were from. Unless if you don't also know Latin characters, then you were kind of screwed. But like,
Yeah. Well, like, how was it traveling around and like traveling around as a student? Did you have lots of student discounts or?
so I didn't really travel that much around like Beijing. Like in the quarter that we were in, I get the impression that it was like mostly a lot of like international schools. So seeing like an American or just someone non-Chinese wasn't too uncommon. But like that didn't really stop anyone from being like, no, I just don't know English. Like, so a lot of people in China, even if like in China they're required to start learning English by like third grade, and most of them learn it like before then. And like some people, it's like you know that they know English, but they just don't want to speak it. And it's like, you know, like I had.
And you speak Chinese, like.
Well, like I had
you know.
2 years of Chinese experience at that point, but like that's still like not enough to like really get you around anywhere you want to go. And like sometimes there's those situations where it's like I just need to speak my native language. Like, can you understand me?
Mm-hmm.
And they just like don't want to give you the time of day to like even try to help you. Very different experience when I went to see Maria in Germany. Everyone there was super
nice. We have
nice.
Experience in Germany with
Really?
people speaking English because, as I've commented on this before, everyone has told me, like all my friends who have gone as tourists to Germany, they've said, oh, it was so great. Everybody was super hospitable. Everybody spoke English to us. Like, everybody speaks wonderful English. And I just am like, where are you going in Germany that everyone speaks English? Like, literally nobody ever speaks to me.
Really? Well, you told me when I went there that I wouldn't have an issue.
Well, yeah, I said like, it's like, to me, at least, you know, from the people I was surrounded with in Koblenz, it was like, oh, Koblenz, that's like a student city. Like, there's some cities where it's like they're really known for a certain university. Lots of students there. Just like in America, we have college towns where it's just a college.
Where like Blacksburg, Virginia is all I can think of as like the quintessential like college town. Where
it's basically just the campus, and then there's like local run businesses that
are all like for students.
Yeah. So like that's kind of what I thought of, you know, like as Koblenz being kind of like the German
college
version of it, but like not exactly, because it's still also like it's a tourist destination. Like that's the thing, it's a tourist destination on
palace.
The Rhine and Mosel.
Sorry, whatever.
But yeah, so like just that it's a stop for a lot of people who are taking river boat tours or other you know, bus tours throughout the Rhineland Valley. Like you'll have.
Wait, they know your last name.
Yes, they know my last name.
Can I tell my story real quick?
Sure, because I got lost.
So when I went to visit Maria in Koblenz, I took a plane to Frankfurt, and then I had to get on a train from Frankfurt to Koblenz, I believe. And so when I bought my train ticket at the airport, there were two nice young men who, sir, I can't pronounce.
To the person who somebody just sent a message to us of a sexual nature. Let's have you know that we are, one, not ashamed of anything sexually promiscuous, because guess what? People can do whatever they would like to with their bodies. Also, we're Tumblr people. Like, that's a you know, saying something degrading, what you perceive as being degrading to a person, whether or not I find it to be degrading, still gonna call you out on that shit.
On a side note, whoever made that comment, I've been trying to.
You know what? Let's be honest.
So I got to come in. There were two guys there who, so like the ticket machine had like an English option, but like it was like Google Translate English, where I was like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Like
and
you put English in a blender, and then it's like, let's put this on a website.
I didn't want to waste X amount of euros on a ticket to the wrong place and then have to do it again. And so there were two guys standing right there, and they seemed like about my age. So I was just like, hey, like, do you guys speak English? And they were like, of course. Like,
and I was incredulous upon hearing that. I'm like, of course. Usually a lot of my German friends have been really modest at first. They're like,
really?
oh, you know, I know school English, and
Oh,
You
well,
know,
so they were
I
like
don't know.
super nice, and so the one guy was like heading in the direction of Koblenz. I think he was going a little further out, but like the few stops that we would be going. So he helped me buy my ticket, and he like sat on the train with me, and like we were talking and whatever, and he told me like this is where you want to get off and all that, because America doesn't have that many trains, which is a horrible issue with America. So like I'm
we
not
have
used to it.
there are trains here,
But like
and,
no
people
one
in the city.
uses them really.
People from Philly are always telling me about
Yeah.
how like no, there's the subway, like it's great, and there's the buses, and I'm like,
We live in
they
the
don't
suburbs,
exist
like,
outside of
yeah.
like your little
Bubble,
Temple
yeah.
bubble, because my friends, from Philly, they're in Temple.
So I get to the train station in Koblenz, and I'm looking for Maria. I feel like part of what happened here, why I couldn't find you, is I forgot you had gone blonde.
You know what?
Well, the
I
last
was
time I
going
had
blonde
seen
that
her
year,
was
yeah.
like months and months beforehand, like the summer before this, and this was like March, and she had still been a brunette back then. Give this video a thumbs up if you want brunette Maria back.
Fuck that. I'm not going to be brunette for a while. I'm going to be purple before I'm brunette and red. And
I was brunette before I was purple. Anyways, so I get there and I go to the information desk because I didn't have my cell phone with me because like I was just there for a week and I wasn't going to pay to like have like the international service put on it or whatever. Yeah. If I were to do it again, I would pay for that service. So I get to the information desk and I asked the man there, I said, hey, like, do you speak English? Because like I'm trying to find my friend. He did not speak English, but he very
people
kindly...
that work at international desks who don't speak more than one language, I'm sorry, that's like the one instance where I'm like, you can't have, I'm going to...
But he very kindly
be
pointed me in the direction of someone that did speak English at the other information desk. So I talked to her and I say, hey, like, I'm really sorry. I don't have my phone on me. I just got here. I'm supposed to meet up with my friend. Like, can I use like the phone at your desk to call her? So she gets out the phone and she's like going to dial it for me. And I had the number that Maria told me was her number to call. And the lady dialing, she said, oh, is the number for Handy? And I'm like, how does she know Maria's last name? Because like we were talking in English, and then I was like, wait a second. She means, is it for a cell phone?
And you knew that because...
I knew that Handy means cell phone because this guy.
Yeah, this guy. Seriously. But so I got a question saying, study abroad in northern Germany versus southern Germany, differences with universities, culture similarities. Now, I did not study in, it depends if you consider Koblenz to be southern Germany. I mean, to me, southern Germany is Bavaria. Pretty much flat across Bavaria.
I don't know anything about German geography.
Well, we're going to do a test so that you can learn all
Berlin's
the
in the north, right?
Berlin is northeast-ish.
Okay.
Middle northeast, kind of, yeah. But anyways, so I studied in Berlin previously and also in Koblenz. So if you mean like the differences between the north, which Berlin I would say is in the north, but then also Koblenz is relatively south. Not so much university differences. I wasn't at the Humboldt University long enough to really experience much of like what it's like there for students. I was just there for a summer program, and also that was like, it was a summer program that was only for foreigners who were there because it was part of the Language Institute's like summer language program initiative thing that they had. But definitely living in the different regions is entirely different. I remember one of my things that I bitched about unceasingly was that when you travel from the Tegel airport to where I was staying in Berlin, it was like, or no, not even from there. It was very affordable to travel from there, between those 2 points. But I was like, am Tierpark when I was in Berlin. But when I would go from Berlin to Brandenburg, it was like, what? I think it was like 6 to 8 or 9 euros was the fee to ride with the train. And that was 1 hour. When I would take the same amount of, like the ride, the same amount of time between the Frankfurt am Main airport and Koblenz, roughly the same amount of time, 23 euros. And that's kind of like, it was just a much more expensive region than I was used to. So I complained about that a fair bit. That was like one of the main things that I noticed as being different that like stood out to me and annoyed me. Also definitely differences in culture. I know I've talked to you about this before, but when I'm in Germany, like people who mistake me for being German, it's not like they're mistaking me like for being like a native born German and like your parents are German and grandparents and everything. It's like I'm considered to be someone of Greek, Turkish. Honestly, people guess my ethnicity literally all the time in Germany, of whatever descent, who is for all intents and purposes German, but still like part of whatever minority. So I experienced people asking more about that when I was in Koblenz area, and also when I was in Frankfurt am Main. Like I really, the first time I went to Germany, I was like, it seems like a lot of things people would say was like casual racism, which I didn't. It took me literally 4 years of studying German and like learning more about the culture to understand like, the situation of Turkish Germans now. And I've talked to you about it umpteen times, but like, for instance, what kind of passport do you have? So definitely I was treated very differently in Koblenz than I was treated in Berlin, where Berlin, it's like, oh, it's a big city, everybody's from everywhere, like who gives a shit? Like in a nice way, who gives a shit in a nice way. But in Koblenz, it was just like, like people thought I was maybe from Berlin or Brandenburg, because like I do occasionally say things with like a slight accent from over there. I know my accent changes when I'm speaking German though, so that was definitely people in the Koblenz area, in Hessen, in Rheinland-Pfalz. I know that Koblenz is in Rheinland-Pfalz and not in Hessen. I'm just saying because I stayed in both areas and they're near each other. People over there were less likely to understand that I was an American than people who were in Berlin, and like just based on presuppositions that people already had about what are Americans like, what are German Americans like I was treated differently in Berlin than I was treated in Koblenz. Cultural differences really between the two. Like I said, it's just like, I don't know. I think the major cultural differences between those two universities, or like those two areas at least, was, from my experience, just the one is a big city. So when I'm going around the city, like in Berlin, I'm remembering everything I've ever read about Berlin and all of the authors who have been from Berlin. And then when I was in Koblenz, it was just like, oh, well, this is like the Rhineland Valley. So lots of castles, lots of vineyards, the vineyards are amazing. Like, in all honesty, the Rhineland Valley is not my favorite area of Germany. I am a city person.
Well, I personally am offended.
I like going to the countryside, but just
I don't
I'm
know if
very
you remember,
much
but
like
my family hails from Koblenz originally.
Yeah, that was actually like an interesting.
Yeah,
thing
my
to find
great
out.
grandma's maiden name was Koblenzer, which I'm just assuming means
Yeah,
they came from Koblenz. I don't know what else it would mean.
Well, there's also I know there, like, I think it's Koblenz or like Koblenz, which was a city that was formerly in Poland, but then also part of Germany, but like it was kind of on the border. Has a very similar name and could be also that town, but this is just pure speculation. But so back to our main topics. I just went off on a tangent about northern Germany, if you can call it, Berlin, northern Germany, and Koblenz, southern Germany, east and west, whatever.
I feel like every country has a north versus south. Just like every country I've ever learned about, like the U.S., Italy, China has it. Like
yeah, it's a
England,
thing.
I think, has that going on. Yeah, Though my one friend who lives in California was trying to convince me that like the U.S. has like the East Coast, West Coast thing going on, which I was unaware of previously, but now that he's made me savvy to it, I kind of see it.
Yeah.
But like I had never been to the West Coast before, and I still haven't, so maybe that's why.
I thought there was like generally speaking, a like New York, LA, like you can't be a New York person and an LA person.
It's like you can't like Hillary Duff and Lindsay Lohan back in like 2004.
Oh my god.
But yes, like I babysit for a family, and like they come from California, and it's like once my friend made me like aware of the situation, like there's stuff that was like, even though we're from the same country, it's like that's just like a big cultural difference. I
Yeah.
feel. Of course, America is like it covers a lot of land mass too, so like there's a lot of space between it's bigger than Germany.
Yeah. That's all that matters. I'm just kidding.
And not like Germany's not big and like there's not a lot of people there, but like.
Well, no, that's one of the most common misconceptions that Americans I've met have had about Germany is, oh, Germany must be like Germany. You know, people I think is the size of Rhode Island, and I'm like, it is not the size of Rhode Island. It is vastly larger than Rhode Island. Yeah. And I've had people tell me like, you know, I have a friend who lives in Germany. Maybe you know him. He lives in this insert random ass city name, and his last name is completely typical German name. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, do I know Hans Schmidt from Berlin? No, I do not know this person. But yeah, like people think it's much smaller than it actually is.
It's like maybe this like Europe kind of like in general is like about the size of the U.S. as a whole. Is that?
I'm not going to comment on that because I am unaware of the land size.
Like in general, I thought that's like about how it is. So like most countries in Europe, I'm like, even though they seem small, like comparatively, it's like they're probably like the size like 2 or 3 states. Yeah, together. Generally is kind of how I thought about it.
But so
I'm really bad with geography unless I'm looking at a map and it is in front of me, like in my head, I cannot visualize it.
Well, how was not your Chinese geography, but your geography of knowledge of the geography of China?
The majority of the Chinese population, which as we know is the largest population in the world, lives on the east coast of China. So that's like by the Pacific Ocean, which is like backwards for me because anyways, because like out west in China is like really mountainous, and then like you get into like Tibet and like Nepal and all that kind of like over there. I
mean, we had the same professor, different semesters, learned some stuff about Tibet. Definitely.
Tibet was a great place to go. It was kind of a sticky situation getting over there, as I recall, but I enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so like the majority of people are like along the east coast of China. Kind of as you get more and more inland, it's like more and more like farms and like countryside and stuff, and like it's really like along the east coast where you have like those big cities like Beijing, Shanghai, and like even like Hong Kong's kind of like its own place, but like most of the big cities are along the east coast, which like the big cities are always like near water, right? Usually, especially in a country as old as China. So yeah, it's just.
But actually, isn't China, the People's Republic of China, a brand new country? Remember that argument? This is an interesting concept. I don't know how many are familiar with it.
A thing I noticed is, so the People's Republic of China, like the current government regime and like the fact that like China is now a republic, started, I believe, 1949. But like we'll call it the last 60 years, whatever. So like it's a baby. But like Chinese history of like way back and like whatever, it goes like 1,000 years, like way into like the BCs or BCE or whatever you want to use. So like 1949.
Yeah, I've just done a Google search.
So like just stuff in general, like I feel like most of like Chinese history that people know is like the ancient Chinese history of like
that wasn't vague. I'm just kidding.
I'm thinking specifically of like
Chinese, so it's
the first like emperor who like the Qin dynasty, I guess, which is like how China got its name, because like the Qin dynasty, and like with the terracotta warriors, and like he had like that giant tomb built for himself and stuff. I don't know really how much common knowledge this is, because like I didn't really know too much about it before getting into Chinese and stuff, but like ancient Chinese history, like thousands of years ago and stuff. And so like they have a really rich culture, and like just stuff like Confucius. I feel like that's probably something that like most people think of with like Chinese culture, like Confucius, and stuff like that. Like that's all like the ancient history. But so when I was in China and I would like be talking with some of my Chinese friends, like, oh yeah, like you guys have like such like a rich history and like it's really long, and like you guys are like so much older than the US, like as a country, because in the US it's just like a little baby. And they're like, no, our country is very young. It's only, you know, been around since 1949. I was like, I get that, but like,
also,
but and like they would kind of just like pick and choose when they wanted to be a young country and when they wanted it to be an old country. Like sometimes they'd be like, oh well, you know, like China's got like this rich history and culture and like language and all this has been developing for like thousands of years. But then other times they'd be like, oh no, like we've just been around for like 2 minutes. That's adorable. Do you want to show it to everyone?
My
Watch
sister
out,
is coming to
Leo's
say
right
hello.
behind you. She just finished making a stuffed animal.
This is the third one that I've made.
It's
And
a
it
cow.
is a cow. And he's got a heart on his butt.
Why doesn't he have any udders?
He's neutered.
Oh my gosh! I told her she
neuter
should
doesn't mean cutting off the breast.
You know,
She had a mastectomy.
Good point.
You're welcome.
accurate.
This
So.
is now on the internet forever. But yeah, so like they, you know, like a lot of things they'd be like, oh well, like China's such a new country, like whatever. But then other times they're like, oh well, like China's like so old and like this rich history and all that. And I was like, you kind of like pick and choose when you want that to be the case. Like, is it young or is it old? But you know, like I also see where they're coming from. Like a lot of things, like the actual like way the government works, like that's a fairly new system. But then other things like their language and like Confucian values and stuff like that, like that has been around for a really long time.
I'm also in the comments, so if you're typing comments and I've got a hot sec, I will respond to your comments as we're typing, especially if they're off topic, but it's like a short answer, you know, thing. I can just pop in and sa-choo.
On a side tangent off of that real quick, I also study Italian in college, and like with that comes like a decent chunk of Italian history, which I am by no means an expert on. I'm not good with history in general. We know this.
We know this. Now you're learning. So,
but like in my mind, like as a kid, I was always like, Italy's a place. But it wasn't until like middle school that I realized, like, okay, so like Italy, as like we know it now, was not like a thing until very recently. And by very recently, I mean like the last 150 years, somewhere in there. And like, you know, I feel like in some ways Italian history is kind of similar to German history, like right now. I don't know. I know nothing about history. No one say anything. But like the Roman Empire was, you know, obviously like a big thing, like 2,000, however many years ago, whatever. But like Italy, as we know it now, was not a thing until, you know, fairly recent history. So it's kind of like that same kind of thing going on in China of like, well, yeah, like there's been like the dynasties and like China, but not like the People's Republic of China.
yeah, well, like as someone pointed out in the comments, the like Germany is technically, like if you go by that same standard, it's technically a younger country. If you're going, well, you can either go with 1888, primary unification of Germany, or 1949, or 1989. It's, you know.
And by 1989,
as a culture,
you're clearly
German culture
referencing when the last two members of Tokyo Hotel were born.
You're right.
And
you know,
really united the country and brought it into the 21st century and what it is now.
Yes, we are.
I like Tokyo Hotel.
Yeah. Somebody asked them, it was, I think, what, the Comet Awards in Berlin. It was 2000. No, it was 2009, because it would have been the 20-year anniversary of the reunification of Germany. And people asked them how they thought about it, like, because they were, you know, kids when it started, and they were like, what, 2 months old?
Yeah,
Something. Yeah. But so
That's like people asking me how I felt about President Bush Sr. I'm like, I was like, what, 4 months old when that was going on?
Yep. Gave probably 0 shits at that time.
I was still in diapers.
So you gave a lot of
actually.
shits, yeah. Ugh, icky hot take.
Again, on the internet now, forever.
Mm-hmm. But we were talking about
Something
geography
important.
of China.
Oh, yeah.
Geography of China. I mean, like, when it comes to Germany, not to brag, but I'm pretty confident about I could take a geography
No, I have
exam.
no. One thing about China, okay, so they have different provinces, I think is the word that they use. Yeah. For, like, how, like, we have states, they have, like, their different provinces.
Yeah.
So a thing I was asking people when I got there was, like, how many provinces are there? And no one seemed to know.
That sounds like a problematic.
And, like, everyone
thing.
gave a different answer. And I was like, is it just, like, constantly kind of changing or what? And I think what I realized later is, like, I don't know how many of you non-Americans know this about America, or even really, there's a lot of Americans that don't understand this about America. So I live in Maryland, which is, like, right by Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. is not in Maryland. It is its own district that, like, doesn't belong anywhere else. Like, it is not part of a state.
Yeah.
So people that live in Washington, D.C., they live in Washington, D.C. They don't live in a state. So if you met someone from Washington, D.C. and said, what state are you from? They would not have an answer. So I believe that there are several cities, Beijing being one of them, in China that operate that way and kind of are, like, self-contained as, like, their own thing. And maybe Shanghai is the same way and, like, a few other places. So I think that's kind of where it came in when I said, like, oh, how many states are there? People are like, or provinces are like, I can't even remember. Maybe it was, like, around, like, 25 to 30 of them, maybe. It could be totally wrong. But
what does Wikipedia say?
I don't know.
Wikipedia says that there are yeah, it's
Well, yeah, and then you get into the whole stuff like, are you including, like, Tibet, Hong Kong, Taiwan?
Yeah, there's, like, obviously political situations.
Yeah, so there's political situations going on too. So that's probably what played into why no one really had, like, 100% straight answer. All I know, like, literally the only 2 provinces I know are Zhejiang province, because that is where my friend is from, and, like, the dialect that she speaks is Zhejiang dialect. And she also speaks Mandarin. She also speaks English. But aside from that, and then I know Sichuan province, so I have not been there, but that is where the pandas are. And they also have spicy food. That's all I know.
Well, according to this Wikipedia article on the provinces of China, there are
23.
Well, this one says 34
Oh, well, this says 23.
specific divisions, but then
you see,
technically
that's
23. Yeah.
Wikipedia doesn't have an answer either. So, like I said, somewhere in, like, the 25 to 30 area was somewhere where I was, like, thinking there.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I don't know the specifics of the situation or, like, how things are divided up there, but all I know is, like, Beijing is, like, self-contained, and, like I said, that's, like, mostly where it was. So.
Yeah, maybe I'm not too familiar with, like, Chinese politics and how that would work with the land, but kind of similar, like how Berlin is a city, but it's also its own federal state in Germany, and it's kind of self-contained, but also it's the capital. It's like, it's interesting.
It was very interesting being in China in 2012 specifically, because that was an election year for the U.S. and
Would you mind if I skedoodled for 5 seconds to the facilities?
I have so much responsibility.
I will return momentarily.
Hi everyone, it's the Julie Show now. I'm gonna hack Maria's account and change her password.
It's in German. Have fun.
Okay. So, I was in China during an election year for the U.S. It was a whole issue to be able to vote. Things got weird. I don't know. Anyway, and then it was also like, I guess it's not really an election in China. However, they choose their next chairman. One of my friends was explaining to me how their like voting or whatever system works, or like their chairman or leader, or like whatever it is. But I should know more, and I don't. It's just that's how it is. But like those were both going on during the fall while I was there, so it was like interesting to see, because like a lot of my friends were like, oh, that's really cool, like you live in America, like you can vote for like who the president is, and like they were all following the American election like very closely, like between Romney and Obama. And like I said, the situation for me to be able to vote was very tricky, and it ended up not working out. So all my friends were like, wait, but like you can vote in your election, and like ours is going on right now, like we get no say in it whatsoever, like that's so cool, like democracy. I'm not saying it's better than any other system, I'm just commenting.
Interesting thoughts on democracy and what democracy is, because I have
Though I also know a ton of people that are like, America's not a democracy.
Yeah,
Specifically my
heard
Swedish
that
friends.
argument. Yeah. What? How goes? Good. Feels nice. Did you guys enjoy this segment where I disappeared casually?
I got naked.
Good. That's the only way to do it. It's not like we would be flagged on YouTube or anything.
No, never.
Nope. Which that's actually a point of things that we've noticed in the past years when I was making YouTube videos in our dorm and stuff, is that occasionally we would get that question that's like, take it off. And I'm like, I'm talking about like grammar and pronunciation. Like you're literally at such the wrong place. Mm-hmm. Like,
and for me personally, when I hear you talk about grammar and pronunciation, it does something to me.
Yeah.
It makes you want to leave the room. Oh my god! It was okay, that was on camera. There was a bug like right in front of my retina.
Oh gosh. Just ready to pounce.
Have you ever had like a gnat like get so close to your eye and then you blink and you literally kill it with your eyelids closing together?
Well, okay. I don't know how I'm thinking of this segue. This is a weird ass segue. But you mentioned a gnat.
Yeah.
Some ridiculously random, we'll go with object, article, animal, whatever thing you want to describe it as, that I'm obsessed with in Germany are slugs. Schnecke.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, like...
They're homeless snails.
Snails without houses. Stop. But I don't know what it is. It's just every time I would go for a Wandertag in Germany, I would see a hunt.
You were waiting to drop that.
I was waiting to drop that because, yes, as my guest done.
That and your mixtape.
That and my mixtape, yeah. And we were supposed to go hiking and go for a picnic, and I was supposed to drink beer in the woods for Ersten Mai, and we couldn't do that because our weather was very shitty. Yeah, I doubt that. But anyways,
in America, we have wine in the woods.
Honestly, that sounds like a sad night for one.
Wait, you haven't been to wine in the woods?
No.
Or like, is this just a Maryland thing?
Nope. I've never heard of that.
Oh, it's like this big thing in Maryland, like there's wine in the woods.
Sounds like it's is it a backwoods?
It can be.
But so that's
sorry.
So anytime I've been hiking in Germany, which I've been tricked into going hiking hundreds of times in Germany, I can't even describe it. Or someone's tricked me into going for like a biking marathon, like, oh, let's just go for a ride into the town. It'll take 10 minutes. 3 hours later, or that SpongeBob gif, whatever. Then we're finally there and have our bikes picked up by this person's mother because I refuse to go back on that because you conned me into going for a bike tour. Yeah, every time I'm over there, I get so obsessed with the snails because the snails, the slugs, they're just so incredible to me. I hardly see them when I'm in the States. And there's lots of creeks around me. Like, I just never see them anywhere, though. And so that's an obnoxious thing that I actively, if people tell me, like, what's one reason you would want to live in Germany? I get to see snakes not snakes. I get to see snakes here pretty frequently, actually. If I go out over to the creek, but I get to see.
Call it a creek. Oh my God, you're more of a redneck than I am.
Sometimes I call her Crick, but I'll get to see.
We could talk about North versus South in
Schnecker.
the U.S. because
We
you're from
will-
the North and I'm from the South.
We will get to that. But I get to see those little critters every time I'm in Germany, and that's to me like an amazing thing I see in Germany. Is there some really random like little things in China that you fangirl over or fanboy over?
Pandas.
Pandas.
They're everywhere. They're just roaming.
I mean, it
the
doesn't have to be an
streets.
animal specifically, but just
Oh,
and Jenna, I fangirl over Jenna.
oh.
I hope this is good. The
Thought
build-up
that was
is-
way too much build up. Side note, for the person that asked how Maria's sister is doing with her sign language, I don't have a proper answer to that, but she taught me yesterday. Wait. My name is Julie.
Meanwhile, I can do what is it? I'm bawling every day, like crying. But no, tell me if you know American Sign Language. Do you get this joke? Do you get this joke really quick? So, or bawling versus bawling, two totally different concepts. I think it's hilarious, but I just was giving a shot in the dark to that.
So things I like in China. I don't like Chinese food. Like
Problematic.
in general,
Chinese food.
I don't like I'm just a very picky eater in general, and like a lot of the Chinese
She wouldn't
cuisine,
try tuna in Germany.
Yeah, not looking forward to that. Like a lot of the food in China, just like the ingredients they use, just none of it appeals to me. The smell of a lot of it, just I don't like. But I'm that way with like a lot of foods, even in America. And so, I'm pretty sure most of our meals in Germany were at Vapiano.
Yeah, Vapiano.
I love a good Italian food though. And so, China though, I would eat a lot of their snacks, as you could probably tell by looking at me. And so a lot of their snacks are really awesome. And so just recently, I went to a Chinese grocery store that's near my house and like my school with one of my friends who is Chinese and in my Chinese class with me at school. And it was like legit, like they took this grocery store out of China and just like plopped it down in the middle of the US. And it was awesome because I got to see all my favorite snack foods that like I hadn't seen since I was last in China. And they have these little koala like puffs that are like injected with like flavored cream. Like if you know Pocky, it's kind of like they turned it inside out, like the same kind of cream stuff and like the biscuit stick.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what the puff is made out of.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just awesome. And so I bought like a whole big box of them, and like it had like individual packs of like a bunch of them in it. I brought them to work with me one day for all of my coworkers to try, and everyone was going insane over them because they're awesome. And like a lot of like the Chinese and kind of just like a lot of like the Asian market and stuff, like the packaging on things. Like I'm thinking specifically like Korea, Japan, China. Like it's all very like cutesy on like a lot of things.
Yeah, I have seen a whole bunch of things like that on study blues on Tumblr.
Yeah, like the Chinese snack foods, like they were just like so cutesy and like had like little cartoon characters.
Meanwhile, here we're just like, here's a bright red bag, you piece of shit. Like, no, like go to any place.
Another thing about Chinese snack foods.
It's terrible.
I don't know how prevalent this is in Germany, but like every year Lay's, like the potato chip brand, has like this like make your own flavor contest, which like I feel like just kind of like goes on throughout the year. And like it's a piece of shit. Like no one, it's not a thing.
Yeah.
But all of those shit flavors that people come up with for the Lay's potato chips, they go to China and sell them there. Like they have just the classic like American salted potato chip, and like I only say the classic American one because like the packaging in Chinese will say like American.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have like, actually now that I think of it, like what I would say here in the US, like your standard potato chip flavors would be the classic just like salted potato chip, salt and vinegar
ripples.
No, flavor. Like salt and vinegar, sour cream and onion, maybe a barbecue chip.
Yeah.
And that would be like your standard.
Yeah.
In China, I can't, like, I meant to take pictures of the flavors they had. They had like Italian braised beef. And
no.
like all this kind of like I don't like all of it was like meat flavored, and one I think was like a shrimp flavor. Like I don't know who's looking for that in a potato chip, but apparently it's the Chinese.
Well, I think I was definitely in Greece. I'm not sure exactly if it was also in Germany this happened. I expected that the green bag would be sour cream and onion.
Well, I would
And it
can
was-
assume.
Well, yeah, it was oregano though.
Ew.
And
Well,
I
that's
was
not
like-
horrible, but like.
It's interesting enough that I would
speaking
not
of
want it as a
bad
flavor.
potato chip flavors, Canada, what's with the ketchup chips? That needs to stop. No one gave you permission to do that.
So somebody asked if I've ever been to Nordrhein-Westfalen, Köln or Dortmund. I've been to Köln. I went for Rosenmontag. I did not drink. Everybody else did. I was actually too preoccupied. You know, usually in Germany I feel really safe and like I don't like think I'm gonna get robbed or anything. Like I'm like, it's, you know, like in the States you feel more like you're gonna get robbed sometimes. Except I'm also pretty like,
I
it's
was gonna say
unlikely.
China. I thought it would be the
But when I was in Köln for Rosenmontag, I was like, the odds that I will lose my purse or get robbed are like
very high.
higher than if it wouldn't be a major holiday where everybody is shit-faced.
Right.
So, yeah, like that was the day I was there. I did not see one thing in the city except for walking around the streets. I saw, who did I see? Stefan Raab. Did I see Oliver Pocher? I don't remember if he was there. But
I don't know these people.
well,
Or
you know
these
what? They don't
places.
know you. And that is accurate.
They could be watching this right now.
You know what? Fuck if that's happening. But so, yeah, I was in Köln for one day. I was in Bielefeld for 2 days. I was actually invited by a subscriber. Hello, if you're watching this. But I was invited to go to this little get-together that a bunch of English students were having at the university there. So I just went there, chilled. They paid for my expenses just to go, like, and stuff. So that was nice. I can't recall if I've been to... I've not been to Dortmund. I've not been. No, I've.
Have you been to
Dortmund or
Dortmund?
Düsseldorf? No, I wasn't there. But you know, I could also be not entirely correct because it could be that I went there with my first host family when I was in Germany. When they were driving me around Germany, like they took me to, they took me to a bunch of day trip places, and I did not. At the time, like I wasn't actively like, okay, this is the city name and these are the things that we did. So now I'll be driving, you know, through a city in Germany and I'm like, oh, I've been here, you know, that kind of happens. It was just poor communication initially the first time I was in Germany of where exactly we were on the map. But like now, if you know, I realized I've been to Quedlinburg twice and I was like, oh, I didn't realize I was here. But like, because I just didn't know the name of the city the first time. So, you know, it could be I've been to more places in Nordrhein-Westfalen than I think I am.
Did you want to talk about North and South in the U.S.?
We can, yeah, because we did say we would talk about.
To say, but
Yeah, like we, you know, we can continue. We can jump in between. I know a lot of people are kind of interested in like, maybe kind of interested in the American aspect of. Obviously, I'm from the States, but I never talk about it, and I never talk in English. So, like, you know,
I'm American.
she's American. I'm.
Ich bin Amerikanerin.
Amerikanerin.
You see,
I've used variations of that pronunciation.
remember when I
Oh.
opened up the video and said, "Hello, my delicious Maria"?
Yep, I recall that.
It was a good time. That's my impression of Maria. Whenever I want to like make fun of her, which you know is often, because there's so much.
Yeah.
I would just be like, "Hello, my delicious Maria." It's great. How's everyone think my German is?
Okay, lassen wir versuchen. Okay,
So mucky.
lassen wir versuchen, etwas auf Deutsch zu sprechen. Okay, sag das, was du auf Deutsch sagen kannst. Etwa. Also, du kennst Bushido, ja? Bushido, K1.
Ich kann Bushido. Is that the correct answer?
Keine Ahnung. Also, ich weiß nicht, was du sagen willst.
I was about to say whoa, like I in Chinese, and I was like, wait, what's it in German?
Yeah, but so I was saying you know, maybe in in your what can you say in German? Let's just do like a little.
Zeig mir deine Pflaume.
Zeig mir deine Pflaume. Gut, immer gut.
Big Tokyo Hotel fan.
I
can say Durst im Monsoon.
Durst im Monsoon, natürlich.
So
mag ich es.
So mag ich es. In everything I know is like phrases. Like I can say.
Geisterfahrer.
No, wait. What? Ich kann kein Deutsch.
Ich kann kein. Ja, das ist gut zu wissen, wenn man.
I can say
nicht
guten
so viel Deutsch
Tag,
kann.
guten Nacht, hallo, tschüss. My accent is horrible.
Ist scheißegal.
Like danke, bitte. Like danke schön, bitte sehr. What I learned from Duolingo.
Ich bin ja auch auf Duolingo.
Again, my accent is horrible. Ich möchte bitte ein Glas Wein. I don't even drink.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's why I said wirklich, because I know. No.
I know. Wait. Don't. Ein Bisschen is like a little
Bisschen.
bit. Bisschen.
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever.
Or you could say, how is it with the one dialect? Ein bisschen. No, I think I'm going over into the Dutch. Ein bisschen. Ein bisschen.
Well, one person has been asking you about Dutch.
So, yes. So the person who has been asking me about Dutch, what is the question? Sorry.
There's been a lot. I think you should just do a video on Dutch.
I will. I've done videos on Dutch before.
Oh, well. My advisor freshman year was Dutch. We went to his house and celebrated Dutch Christmas.
Cool.
Their traditions seem very racist, but I don't know much.
You know what? Yeah, it happens sometimes. But yeah, so differences between the North and South. Obviously, like
I'm from
the
Maryland.
Middle States area.
I'm not
right?
okay. So I live in Maryland, which I always considered like Middle States, and like
which if you're unaware, there's groupings of American states that they put in and just like label it as a region.
Yeah.
There's actual reasons for that.
Well, here
but
I was
just
gonna get
in general,
into that.
yeah.
So I think like when you want to define North versus South in America, like I think like whose side were they on in the Civil War?
That's kind of a thing.
But so
and Maryland was like on the north side, but they were like,
well, no,
we really don't want to.
So Maryland, along with I want to say, West Virginia, Kentucky, and Tennessee, maybe. Again, not good at history, even when it's my own country. But Maryland for sure was one of 4 border states, which meant so like Virginia was out; they were with the South. And like because DC is nestled right in between Virginia and Maryland, the North, like the Union, realized like if we lose Maryland, like DC is gonna be like, in between 2 states that are against it. Like it's just gonna go down and go be bad. So like Maryland, like people there, like it was still legal to own slaves, but they were like fighting on the North side because like the North was kind of like, okay, we'll just let you kind of do whatever you want, but just like stay with us here.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the situation. But all in all, like a lot of my family's from like Virginia, or not like a lot of my family. My grandfather's family is like from Virginia, and like he has like a Southern accent and stuff like that. So like I feel like I kind of have more of a Southern influence just through my family, but not actually like me in my life in Maryland. But then also I didn't really feel like I was like Southern until going to college, because like the majority of people that go to our school, even though it's in Maryland, they're mostly from like up north and like New England and stuff.
Well, it's a super broad demographic. What is it? Long Island?
It's like Long Island, Massachusetts, upstate New York,
Connecticut,
New Jersey,
and Philadelphia.
And and like Maria's compared to everyone else, you're practically Southern too.
You know what?
And where's the lie? But so I never really felt Southern until I started hanging out with so many people who were like from way up north, who were like, oh my gosh, like you have a Southern accent, it's so cute. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, no, I don't.
Yeah, see, I don't think you have a Southern accent. I think you have like a
I think the people who are
like,
from
not
Boston
the Baltimore accent,
were telling
like
me, the Baltimore accent's a little bit weird.
Yeah, like
Baltimore.
Be more Seymour.
Like I think the definition of the Baltimore accent is if you say Baltimore as Baltimore, but I say Baltimore, so I don't have the Baltimore accent. But So like that made me feel like more southern, I guess. And like I enjoy a good sweet tea and like some chicken and biscuits. So like I'm down.
Stereotypically Southern things.
Yeah.
Well, how much did you fit in with True Blood? Did you like feel at home?
True Blood
watching that?
made me feel like a true Yankee.
Yeah, True Blood made me like, oh gosh, so many things in True Blood. I like the accent in True Blood a lot.
But I like saying Stuck at Stackhouse.
Honestly, not gonna lie, when I got my hair, it's been growing out recently, but when I got it touched up the last time,
You're like, maybe
it
I
was
should let that
extra
gap in
blunt.
my teeth grow out too.
Yeah, but I just got that.
Okay.
I thought you were talking about, I'm like, I want to have a teeth gap, and then I'm like, oh wait. But so my hair was like a little bit lighter, like in the first couple days, you know, and as I'm leaving, my hair is like poofy. It's like she did it in this really cool way. And I'm just driving back from the stylist to my house, just going, I am Suki Stackhouse. I couldn't stop it because it was that look that, you know. But yeah, like, because I wouldn't consider you to be part of the South. Like, to me, when I picture the South, I picture North Carolina and Southern, but also Virginia.
But
though.
okay, so what I wanted to say, kind of like why I was like, I have stuff to talk about though. So I just drove up here a few days ago from Maryland up to Pennsylvania, where we are now at Maria's house. There's like, as soon as you cross the border, there's like an instant change. All of their signs for roads here, like highways, like main roads, look like
shitty.
ketchup bottles. Like so I would say like 152, and then like the like shape that it's in, it looks like a Heinz ketchup.
Huh. I've never.
And ours look like police badges. And it bothers me.
I've never noticed that.
And like, I don't know if it's probably just the area of Maryland I'm from, but like everything up here seems so old.
See, it's such a regal area of Pennsylvania. No,
like everything
a lot of
here
old
seems
things
like
in my
there's
town.
Dutch people like just churning butter somewhere.
That's 2 hours away from my house. You'll find that.
That's where Rachel Whitehurst went to school, in Amish country.
Yeah.
But like just driving around here, I'm like everything's like made out of wood.
It's very like a lot of Pennsylvania Dutch,
like a lot of
which
small
Pennsylvania
roads.
Dutch, Pennsylvania German. Like it's the same thing. Like everybody just calls it Pennsylvania Dutch.
Like the towns, specifically like right around you, I feel like it's all like very tiny towns.
Yeah, but
like
still,
your
like,
specific town, like isn't that big? Because you know, I think I went through like 5 or 6 different towns yesterday, and I just drove like 40 minutes.
Well, even right here, like we're in the middle of my town, but right down that road,
right,
different town, right down that road, different town. Like,
well, yeah, like
I'm on the
2
border
minutes
of
from your
the
house.
road.
It's like right where the sign is
Yeah.
to be like we're now in your town. Whereas like my town, you know, it's not like a big city or anything, but it's like a decent size.
Ish or
no, Ian. Okay, so like my town. This is gonna sound like weird. My town gets written about a lot. Okay, so like a lot of people like to live there. Like we have really good schools and stuff. So it's been in like different magazines and like talking about whatever. And they always lump it together, like my town and the town that's right next door, and all together as one thing. So that's kind of why I'm like, well, my town's like a lot bigger because it's like 2 places all like lumped in together.
Mm-hmm. Did what? I don't know.
But like everything up here is like so small and like quaint, and like I feel like I'm going to like a little cottage.
What do you feel like? Obviously, my family is just one example, but like when you come up here, like what do you notice about the people, like mannerisms? Because when I'm down there, I notice everyone's like, "Ma'am," like calling me miss, and like just at the grocery store. I
was gonna say
really,
that like everyone here, like specifically Maria's town, I guess, which maybe just in general when I've been to Pennsylvania. Like every place I've been in Pennsylvania, because like I've been to like places like outside of Pittsburgh, they're like hours from here too, that like are just as small towns, but even like 6 hours away or something like that. So like nowhere near here, like further away from here than my house is.
Mm-hmm.
But like they all just seem like very like one culture. Like they're just white Christian people.
I know. That's
like
not
a lot of
problems that I have here.
People. Whereas like I don't think there's like a ton of like racial and cultural diversity where I live, but like like when we went to like church where I live, because like that's a good like everyone like or like a good sample of people from my town all in one spot. Like, and I think there was like more racial diversity that I've seen at like than like your church. Again, like an example of like a whole bunch of people in one spot where you can like, look at it.
Yeah, like where,
or like just like the stores like around where I am, like a lot of them are like specifically I'm thinking like Korean owned ones, and like then like their signs are like in Korean, so like driving down the street like you'll see signs for like Korean stores.
We have like a Korean section a little ways away.
Ours are all mixed in together. We don't push them to one side of the town.
They're in.
I
almost
shouldn't
gave
say
the
that.
Location, but I'm not gonna give the location.
But like, it's like just where I live. I think is like a newer, developed town. Like even so, like the county where I live, like the one next to it is like where my grandparents, like my cousins live, and like everything there just seems so old.
Yeah.
And by like old, I mean like built in like the 1900s.
Well, here, like we have, like my town has some pretty old stuff for an American town. We have, what do you call it? A cigar factory, a baseball making factory from like the 1910-ish. We have a restaurant right at the end of my street from the 1800s that used to be an inn. Like this town used to be, if you're familiar with a German concept of like you go to visit the Bad, which is like, you know, like a recreational town, like outside the city, you go, you spend your summers there, you go for a wellness trip, that kind of thing. And sometimes like I've been
like
to
where you
several
would have
of
like
them.
your country home.
Yeah, where your country home is. But actually my town is you go to the main street. The entire street is set up like the layout for Philadelphia. Like they did, speed limit is the same, street name's the same, because you had a lot of people coming from Philly. And like basically,
I was wondering.
Apparently at the time they made it so that the you know, the barbershop is in the same spot as the one on the main street in Philly would have been at the time, like for those people. Cute. So, you know, it's, yeah, like we have some old stuff here. We have an old train station, a pretty old cemetery that's like, I think 1600s, 1700s. Yeah, like some old stuff.
Like the town where I live, there's like where I live in like the houses and all that, like the suburban residential area. That's what I'm looking for. And most of it was built in like the 90s. So like really recent. In like my brother is 24 and my parents have lived in our house for like 24 years because like it was built like right around when he was born. But then like there's a whole different section which I think we still haven't gone to when you've been there, like the historic district, where it's like a main street and there's like a bunch of like little shops and stuff, but like that's just like one small section of my town, and then like they built like a whole nother part of it with like highways and roads and like modern stuff, whereas like your town I feel like it's kind of more the opposite. It's like most like the bones of the place are kind of like the old stuff, but then like there's little pockets of like stuff like, oh, this is like a new development, and that. So well, we were saying things about you know, differences. I know this is like something that like you were talking to me about yesterday. We've talked about it hundreds of times, but like, oh good, you know, identifying with being American, oh good, from the north or from the south or from the east or the west coast, you know, wherever. And then me being not totally, you know, outright the German in the room. But like, so what would you say, like coming from, you know, somebody from Maryland to like majority of your life lived in Maryland, except for like that stint in China. Yeah, you know? I was gonna say, aside from like 4 months in China, I've lived in Maryland. But also, you know, you have experience with different cultures, ethnicities, languages, everything. Like, what would you say is typically American? Like, how would you describe some stuff like that? Because that, I'm glad you asked. So, like Mary said, I have friends in Sweden. I don't mean to brag. It's literally the dumbest. Like, you have a smorgasbord of friends in Sweden? They all live in IKEA. Joke. Stop. They only eat meatballs. And they all love Alexander Skarsgård. Once again, sorry, he's so great. Like, okay. Anyways, So my friend I said something. Oh, I made key lime cupcakes the other day. And I was telling my friend about it, and she was like, oh, like that seems like a very like typical like American flavor. Like she was saying, like, at least for Swedish people, like I feel like that, like when we think of like something like uniquely American, like key lime as like a flavor of thing comes to mind. I was like, oh, I never really thought about that, but like I guess like it's called key lime because of the Florida Keys, isn't it?
I don't know, but I'm familiar with that flavor though.
I mean, yeah. So, and like key lime pie is like a thing, or like what I was making was cupcakes. Anyway, so she was like, well, what would you say, like, if you were to put together like one like typically quintessential American meal, what would it be? I was like, okay, well, obviously, if we're going with the American meal, you have to start off with an appetizer.
Oh, I was gonna say you have to start out with a meatloaf. Mom's meatloaf.
I didn't think of meatloaf. But so here's what I said, being from Maryland at least, and like my family, whatever. I said the appetizer. Well, this doesn't really have to do with Maryland, but so like as an appetizer, I would say buffalo wings is a standard appetizer, and also like buffalo wings. I feel like it's named after Buffalo, which is in America. And then for the main meal, I was like probably like biscuits and like gravy and mashed potatoes and like fried chicken kind of thing, like southern kind of style meal, and like an Arnold Palmer with it. But again, that's kind of more leaning towards like the southern thing, or probably more generically would be like hot dogs, hamburgers, some barbecue, like pulled pork.
Yeah, I think pulled pork is a pretty thing.
I don't think really anyone else has pulled pork. Like I think that's an American thing.
There's some things that I think are like definitely like there is such thing as like,
and in
American
general
things,
I feel like barbecue sauce just screams American, but I could be totally wrong about that.
I've probably gotten barbecue sauce at McDonald's here and there in different countries. I don't know.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, I think it originated. I don't actually know, but like, I don't think many other countries like main cuisine that they advertise as like this is like Italian food involves barbecue sauce. Can you imagine?
That was brilliant.
But like, then you get the occasional asshole who's like, well, the hamburger is not really American. It originates from Hamburg. And I'm like, okay, but like, is Hamburg sitting there being like, get your hamburgers? No.
Honestly, I had hamburgers in Hamburg, and I did it because of the pun. Like, it was.
I have never been to Hamburg. Someone still owes me a trip to Hamburg, who shall remain nameless.
Probably not watching.
Probably
not watching.
But anyways, it's Tom Cowlitz.
No, it's not. It's not.
But like, I don't think anyone's sitting around in Hamburg being like, that's ours. America tried to take it.
Well, like, think there's some. Oh, sorry.
I forget what I said the dessert would be. I guess like a key lime pie or apple pie.
See,
apple pie's not like unique, but I feel like America's like, that's apple pie.
See, if I had to come up with like what I would say is a overly typical, based on my experiences.
Making out with a hot dog at a baseball game.
Nope. Actually,
nothing more American than that. In your underwear or pajamas or like something that like people in other countries would not go out being seen.
Well, if you could think of see an American thing that I would say is probably like I said, like meatloaf.
Yeah.
Is specific. Like I know there's like meat casserole-y type things in other places, but specifically the American meatloaf is a piece of shit. Like it's so bad. It's literally, what is it? It originally, you take everything at the end of the week that you didn't finish, and you just like put it in a bowl, and you're like, fuck the kids. And then
I stand by the fact that like meat should never be served in loaf form. Things that I will eat in the form of a loaf. Bread. That's it. That's the whole list.
Yeah. Wonder Bread is very American. It's like the whitest bleach-colored bread you'll ever see. That is not real.
It's whiter than this. I look so pale.
But like, I don't know what else I would say is like the typical American food. But like I would definitely say under like things that I would consider being typically American, going outside, dressing like literally not giving a fuck. Like Wawa chic.
Now I'm just thinking like California, but like all their like vegan hippie shit. Like I feel like that's kind of like American.
I think gluten-free everything is American. Especially if you don't like gluten-free when you're not gluten-free is an American thing. In my opinion.
I'm supposed to be gluten-free, but I ain't gluten-free. As Jim Gaffigan put it, he said, if you're gluten-free and you can't stomach those amber waves of grain, and you're not an American, and he said that those should be the people that we screen at airports.
Oh my god. Yeah, but like, you know, I fit into that category of, well, my brother's girlfriend is gluten intolerant, and then I just eat a lot of different things. I'm like a flexitarian, so I'll have vegetarian, vegan.
Flexitarian is such an asshole word.
Yes, it is. But whatever.
Flexitarian.
It means you can eat like just like a really varied diet. Like I mean, like half the time I eat either Mediterranean, Japanese, Chinese,
I eat none of
Lebanese,
these.
like American, German, Italian. Like I'll eat a whole bunch of different kinds of food all the time.
I eat pizza.
That
I
also
eat
pizza.
Doritos. Side note, Germany, you're doing Doritos right. China, let's have a talk. Your Doritos are not good. They taste bad. They smell worse than like Doritos anywhere else, which I didn't know was possible.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering if like, is there a German version of Cards Against Humanity? I'm assuming there is.
I've looked online. Somebody went and translated it. I don't know if it can be purchased like that.
Well,
though.
because like I've seen a few YouTubers like playing like the British version, which like obviously is still in English, but like they have like slightly different things. Like instead of like Santa Claus, they'll say like Father Christmas or like, you know, like whatever. And like there's just like some other different things that like culturally for them versus like American politicians or like whatever. So I'm like, where was I even going with this? What was I just talking about? Oh, so in the American Cards Against Humanity, we have Dorito breath, and I'm like, is
That's
that
a
one
thing, yeah.
in like the German Cards Against Humanity, or like even like the British one? Like, because that's I just consider that very quintessentially American.
Yeah. Also, students being constantly put into a position that they have nervous breakdowns and that are not helped for them. That's an American thing, I would say.
I have
like the majority of students I know have had mental breakdowns and literally were shat on by the schools when they tried to get help. Every single one of anybody that I've ever known who's ever done that. I'm not like exaggerating. Literally experience. Everybody I know.
You're not exaggerating. They literally got shat on.
Literally.
That's why her hair's this color, guys. She had to bleach all the shit stains out of it.
You know what? Now we're getting down that dark road that's just...
The people want a solo Julie hour of just me going on my name.
We have such chemistry, though. How long can we sit in silence? Yeah, but
speaking of which, Maria and I are going out for Italian food for lunch today.
Yes, we are. We went out to...
The question is how authentic.
Also. That's a...
Did we have Italian yesterday?
Oh, no, I had the chicken, shredded chicken sandwich or something.
Oh, yeah, I still have some of that left.
But yeah, it also looks like it's maybe going to rain at some point. I was going to say,
it's getting a little chilly here.
Honestly, I was going to wear a shirt today that looked like it would have been.
Do you want to share with them the Chinese that you know?
Oh. Okay, what upon yo.
I didn't even know you knew that, so that was great.
我不会说中文，没有意见，恭喜恭喜恭喜。
You wouldn't actually like that's just like the song.
I know, but still.
What you would actually say on like Chunjie would be like Gongxi Fatsai.
I'm shaking my hand because I'm reading a comment that says, "Hello, talk German please, Maria. It's so cool that your English is so good. Danke. Englisch ist meine Muttersprache."
Meine Englisch.
Ich kann das ziemlich gut.
Fei Chong, how?
Bei uns ist es nun 14:10 Uhr im Moment. eigentlich. Aber ja.
Wait, but offend at that person who responded to that saying that my German's not any good. It's beautiful. Just kidding. I love you. My German's horrible. I've made no efforts.
Which I've made no efforts with Chinese, and you can say
I've made
how is
more
that
efforts with German than you have with Chinese.
Natürlich, ich bin ja ziemlich faul. Also,
but like she speaks German so much, like, and it's just obnoxious. Like, I had to learn some of it, whereas like I don't speak Chinese that much around you.
Yeah. My Arabic should be at a higher level than it is, but I've been working too much. I don't have time to actually learn Arabic. So all I hear is people talking Arabic maybe 30 hours a week. 30 hours a week I hear people talking Arabic, and I just don't know that much Arabic. Yeah. Salam, alif, the alphabet, you know. Oh, okay. To the person who said my English was good actually meant that my German was good. They wrote the wrong one. I do that occasionally too. You know, it happens. But you'd be surprised how often I'm told that my English is good, and I'm like, thanks, y'all. And then I'll like specifically like I'll just try to talk extra American for those people just so that they know that I'm actually from the States.
Okay, so the words that people would say that I said funny, like in a southern accent, like home and phone and room and soon.
Like here they say them weird, or like
no, like people at school would say that I said those words like with a southern accent.
Well, you say egg.
Egg?
Egg.
Oh, you mean egg?
You do not say egg.
That's how I say
egg. Oh,
I want eggs. I shaved my legs.
Nah,
I'm saying it how
borderline. I don't know.
The other thing I say is ayin.
Yeah.
But that's just like a me thing mostly.
Yeah, like I know that I say this is a weird thing. People in my area don't really do this. Like I'm waiting to hear somebody who does this. But first, F-I-R-S-T, if I'm saying it in a sentence, I say the forced. Like forced. It was the first time I'd ever done that. And like people, I don't know what it is. It's just that's one thing that I say.
You're just obsessed with forced.
You know what? Like that. That's the name of a fan fiction we hate. I hope that you're watching this, you writer. I'm just kidding.
I forget it was even fun.
Anyway. It was, yeah. Oh no, I remember the writers.
Oh, you know what? I think I do.
Yeah.
See, I would speak some Chinese. Like I feel like
you can speak some Chinese because then you know, like maybe talk a little bit more about your study abroad in Chinese, just to like give people talk Arabic.
So,
Salam.
Wait. How would I say it?
Marhaban.
So,
you know.
2012年我出国中国，我留学在北京。我有一个同屋，我很喜欢北京，北京的地铁很方便，我很喜欢。天气跟巴奥的摩尔的天气，一点一样。可是北京的夏天非常热，我不喜欢热的天气。可是冬天在北京的时候太冷，每天下雪，我觉得。可是我不喜欢，因为下雪的时候我不可以走。在我的课，我不可以上课，因为我不可以走。That's all I have to say.
Now do I get to speak in Echke?
Do you have any idea of anything I just said? Beijing.
Beijing. I heard Beijing. I heard Tian.
Yeah, Tianqi. Well, I told you Tianqi yesterday. I talked
about
that too.
The weather?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tianqi because it's the chi of the weather.
Maria's sister made a Chinese name for herself yesterday. Maria has not yet.
Oh, they need a translation of your Chinese. If you could go a little more into what you just said in Chinese.
I was saying that in 2012 I studied abroad in China, that I lived in Beijing, and I had a roommate. I liked the subway system in Beijing a lot, that it was very convenient. I talked about the weather in Beijing. It's pretty similar to Baltimore, but like the summer's a little bit hotter and the winter's a little bit colder.
Yeah.
But so the summer, I was saying, way too hot for me, but I just don't like hot weather in general. What?
Oh no, I'm just reading a German comment.
And that, like, the winter was just horrible because it snowed like every day, and it snowed so much that like I couldn't walk to class. That was basically it.
Yeah. Well, like yesterday, it was kind of misleading. We were
I'm leaving.
okay. See ya. Yeah.
What did you get as the gift?
What?
What did you get as the gift?
My mom gave me thing. It's a loofah.
What do we know to?
Are your parents home? It's just Don and Darby.
My sister is leaving for a grad party, so she's just announcing
I just
her
spoke Chinese for them.
disappearance.
Do you want to tell them your Chinese name?
Oh.
Yeah, so hi. This is the second time we've had a guest.
Don't you think
Another
Michelle and I
stopped
look
in.
more alike than Maria and Michelle?
I think the hair would contribute, though. I just got my hair done yesterday, and the stylist sees both Maria and I, and she recognized that we look similar.
I thought they knew we were related, though.
Didn't you guys work
They
there?
know that we're related. We go to a different place.
Oh.
Not controversial.
I'm going to a party. I don't know the sign for graduation, but my friend just graduated photography school, so she's gonna have a gallery.
Oh yeah,
And-
someone asked how your sign language was going.
Yeah.
They
So
wanted to know.
Well, I'm learning. I need to sign with shoot, deaf people to learn to sign quickly and fluidly, because right now I'm signing with my friend Emma. Emma's learning in college.
Or just
Well, technically
yeah.
university, but yeah,
Yeah.
she's learning in college. So
Though you were sisters, you look completely different.
Mm-hmm.
it happens.
Yeah. At other times, we all look identical. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I was wearing a wig yesterday that made me look more like them because it was brunette. It was strange, though, because it was a...
I will be Instagramming it later.
It was quite
Who
a
knows?
Oh,
Who
they
knows?
should
Interesting one.
all.
anyway. How do I say my name as again?
Wu Zhao.
Wu Zhao, to introduce myself in Chinese. Wu Zhao Huang Man Kan.
Kong.
Kang.
Yeah.
That's me. All right, I'm going.
You have to do the Chinese, like... Okay, I know it's a stereotype that, like, everyone poses like that in China, but, like, everyone poses like that in China.
It's a
It's
thing.
okay.
Things can be things. Like, some people can be like, oh, that's you just think there's a thing because you've heard it's a thing, and you're like, no, I've been to China, it's a fucking thing. But,
Yeah.
you know.
Though I
What
will
was
actually...
surprised about, though, in Italy is everyone, like, on the street corners, they have a lot of vendors, and they were selling the selfie sticks where you, like, hold it out and you take a selfie.
Oh.
So that was, like, with natives and a lot of tourists.
Ooh.
Everyone was doing the selfie sticks. There were, like,
I've
two
never...
ladies.
I know, they're
We know.
copulating.
They've
Yeah.
been partying. next
They're
to
really
us.
going at it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like rabbits with their bees.
It's the birds and the bees. What story did your parents tell you?
I had
None.
an American Girl book.
My parents told none.
We could talk about
To
that
be
cultural
nuns.
difference.
That's what you meant. No, I'm kidding. All right. I am going choose.
Cheers. 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 That's my end of every video.
Oh my god, the
Um,
Maria Athena send off.
This one time, my brother, who I think y'all seen him occasionally, but he like came and he's like, hey Maria, listen to this. Ich bin Maria Athena, danke für eure Aufmerksamkeit und wir sehen uns nächste Woche. Tschüss. And like he did it on point. I was like, what is this? What is this?
One day I will learn to rap all of Slomakisches.
Oh
and
no,
you will
but
be blown away.
yeah, a little bit. But like, no, yesterday we went out to eat, and now this is a thing. I don't know if I've talked about this before. I may have mentioned it occasionally. I will occasionally wear a scarf on my head. Different looks, different styles, 800 billion reasons why I do that. But basically, I looked like fly as anything, right? And
So
I'm
fly.
explaining to her certain things in my created language that I'm working on, which if you watched my most recent video, the next topic I'm going to be talking about is that language and stuff about it. So, it's going to be cool. But I was explaining some of the stuff, and it was very misleading because I guess some people said it sounds kind of like Arabic, but that's like, people's impressions of how they think Arabic would sound.
I've never really actively heard people speaking Arabic with each other that I was aware, like, this is Arabic. So,
Yeah.
I just have, like, conceived perceptions of it.
Yeah. Well, so I am been making a lot of new words in my language, and do you remember any of the words that I told you? Do you remember your name? Ur-ur.
That's my name?
Yeah, because it's the word for light and it's the word for red, which is the original red, which is going off of her name in Chinese. Which
No, you know what? I changed my mind. I want my name to be light, and I want it to be whatever the word for moon is.
You know what? Not a one. Not a one yet. It would be just uras, because that's the word for like a celestial body that's a...
This body is celestial.
Yeah.
How would you say a dank tank for this mist?
Honestly,
rank.
That's a line from Jake and Amir, and there's no translation for that. Can't be translated. Even in German, I wouldn't want to translate that into German. It would lose so much of the beauty. Oh, God. My cat is also watching us, but yeah, so I've been working on my Planschsprache.
Oh, you didn't say in Chinese what you know to say about him.
Oh, Mao to Mao?
No.
Mao?
Tasher Mao.
Tasher Mao, he's a cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was laughing because it makes it sound like she's saying he is Mao, like Mao Zedong. That's why tones are important.
Yeah.
Oh well.
I've been like putting it on and taking it off this whole time. Also, my hair, apologies.
Take it
blinding,
off,
y'all. Like, seriously. My mom keeps pointing out that I recently, and by recently I mean 8 months ago, added y'all to, like, I'm trying to switch out you guys, and I'm trying to switch it out.
Why?
Why? Because
I've been trying to get my mom to stop saying y'all for like the last 15 years.
Yeah, but it's like, just, I don't know. I think it's nice. I think it's probably has to do with that I was watching True Blood. Like, actually, I just really liked that accent of Sookie Stackhouse. Sookie Stackhouse. Gosh, anybody that wants to hear good Southern accents, watch that show.
Yeah, seriously.
But yeah, it's like also just it's fun for me, and it's like less gendered than you guys, except also I think that guys is a neutral, like in that term. It's like, for me it's neutral, but it's still like
also
for other people not neutral.
By itself can just be the plural.
Oh, I can't. The English.
Why can't you just say you all then and say y'all?
Because it's a contraction. It's
you all best be learning. I don't like I feel like you all needs to be followed by best. Like what you should be doing.
Yeah. It like the outside here, it's getting like obnoxiously bright, but then like also dark, and I don't even know. It's just alternating between.
Yeah, it's weird.
The color scheme of the outside.
What I want to ask people is that if I went back to Germany, since I didn't try any German food when I was there before, what would be a good German food for me to eat that is not sausage?
Yeah, that is not sausage.
Worst is the worst.
Conchita Wurst.
Oh, that's true.
Heizmaul.
Okay, but she's Austrian.
You know what?
Just like me.
High five.
That's a low 5. High 5.
All right. But yeah, that's a good point that she's Australian, actually.
Remember that time I got ginger ale and it had alcohol in it?
Yep.
Maria's dog is barking.
Yeah. Anything? What are your guys' questions for us? I mean, like, we can answer them and maybe do a polyglot language thing right now. Like, just shoot us your questions and we'll answer them in maybe the language they're asked in, or the different one.
If someone asked me a question in Italian.
Italian, Spanish. I'm not saying Spanish for myself. I'm saying Spanish for you because I'm speaking on your behalf. Etchka, Pig Latin.
Pig Latin. Wait, can we speak? Okay, but you speak Pig Latin differently than I do.
I speak Pig Latin. Like one time, I was teaching some German friends how to speak Pig Latin, and I was teaching them in English, but then I was also teaching them in German. And now, anytime I go to speak in Pig Latin, I speak it in German.
I hate you so
and
much,
nobody knows what I'm saying because it's shitty.
Oh, they say use for the
We also
plural?
have use, but it's
I was gonna say my grandfather
Y-O-U-S-E
says
in my area.
use.
I just don't say use. That's Philly.
But I still know people that will say like use all, like use, but then still followed up by all. I'm like, it's worse than y'all. What were we just saying?
Nah, polyglot language round. Ask us questions.
Ugh. You know French?
I do know French.
I do not.
I know shitty school French. Like, people always overestimate my French skills. And this whole time, I've been so chill about it. I'm like, I can hold conversations and I'm, pretty okay for an American, who only studied it at high school.
I was going to say, my Spanish is,
right
it's
now
pretty
lame.
Probably like where your French is, I would imagine. Like, same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because it's gone down. Who that? How much did you want?
Do that.
Do that.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of the time I'll get like request, like what's the languages that people
just squatting with the squad.
Yeah, it's this. Oh, we're good. We're gonna go out to lunch. Okay, but yeah, like I get emails constantly about what language I should learn next. Do any of your like friends from different countries tell you like this is the language you should learn? Like what languages do people want you to
Maria
learn?
tells me I should learn German. That's about it.
I've been told to learn every language. It's insane. It's
so I would want to learn another language, kind of, but like Chinese has made me so lazy, and I had this realization. I think I shared this with you. In Chinese, you don't really conjugate verbs, like very minimally. Like there's certain words that you'll put into a sentence to like indicate that it was a completed action, that like you're currently doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But like the verb itself is always the same. Like you don't have to change it. You just like add in a word sometimes. And it's made me overall very lazy for any other language besides English, obviously, because that comes naturally. But like when I've tried with German, I'm just like, but it's so much work now. Like compared,
yeah,
like, with doing then like the syntax is very different, isn't it?
Then what? English?
Well, they have like
it's the same as long as you know what parts of speech are, though.
I mean, I do.
Yeah,
I took
then
Latin,
it's easy.
and they have the cases too.
It's easy there.
Question for any of you that speak German, but like also know Latin, like because Maria's told me like in German that there's like cases. Like I only know them in Latin. Like how similar is it? Because you never really took Latin, really, did you?
It's all the same except for the ablative.
Right, I get
generally,
that, but like
generally
in use, how do they work? Like,
in use, people have been using the dative case for pronouns for
things that
prepositions that would usually go with the genitive. I typically use the genitive still because I'm an asshole. Just kidding. I'm just a literature student. So, we have a question. Quel âge avez-vous? Nous sommes 23. 23. Actually, no. Wait. I'm 23. 22. Her birthday is very soon, so.
Oh, yeah, I'm almost 20. Is that what the question was? My birthday is exactly 3 weeks. No, that's completely wrong. What am I saying? It's less than 3 weeks.
So somebody asked me ob ich einige deutsche Zungenbrecher sagen könnte. Und so hier habe ich mir eine Liste ausgesucht. Kurz mal. Brautkleid bleibt Brautkleid und Blaukraut bleibt Blaukraut. Bierbrauer Bauer braut braunes Bier, braut Bier, Brauer Bauer. Let's go to a different letter because maybe.
Wait, are these like tongue twisters?
Yeah.
Wait, okay, my German's great. Don't you
okay.
German
Well, this one's for you. This one is Chinese.
Wait.
Chinese, well, this one with
Oh.
C.
Chinesische Schuleschen, Chinesische Schuleschen, Chinesische Schuleschen.
Chinesisches Schlüsselchen, chinesisches Schlüsselchen, chinesische. Ja, das ist schwierig.
Wait, I want to do another one. Wait, how do you pronounce that? That's like a sh.
Fass. Weinfass.
Weinfass. Das Weinfass, das Frau Weber lehrte, behätte ihr Lebwerte.
Oh, that's adorable.
What does it mean?
So, das Weinfass, das Frau Weber lehrte, verhärte ihre Leberwerte. The wine canteen that she emptied. Actually, I don't know the one word though.
You're going crazy. Bees in the trap, bees in the trap. That was my like Maria talking to her cat
But
version of that song.
Yeah, so the wine container that she drank empty destroyed her liver.
That's not cute.
It's hilarious.
Ow.
I knew it was something along those lines, but like the specific translation of the word verhärte, I was like, well, it could be a handful of words. Der Frosterfrosch frostet im Froschfoster. Frostet der Frosch frostet im Froschfoster. Im Froster frostet der Frosch. I don't even know how good these are going. But, you know.
How well they're going. It's an ad for
See, this one we have this one in English, the one fish one. Fisch aus Fritze, Fisch, frische Fische, Fisch, frisch aus Fritze.
Is that like Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, a peck of pickled peppers, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, where's a peck of pickled peppers, Peter Piper picked?
You know, I know that slightly differently.
Oh, really? How much wood could a woodchuck chuck? A woodchuck could chuck wood?
He chuck out of the wood that a woodchuck. What if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Yeah. I know also Sally sells seashells by the seashore. It's an English one.
Chester cheetah chuck cheddar cheese.
Actually,
that was just like a voice warm up we always did.
Yeah. I also know, like, you know, copyright, whatever, it's Dr. Seuss, but like, oh, say, can you say, said a book reading parrot named Huey. The words in this book are all fooey. When you say them, your lips will make slips and backflips, and your tongue may end up in St. Louis. I basically had that memorized book. It's called "Oh Say Can You Say." It's a children's book. Had that memorized as anything back in the day, but I can't.
I got Snapchats waiting for me, bro.
Yeah, but so those are some Zungenbrecher. One day maybe I'll make a better video. Actually, like I'll go through like 100 and just say them all, and everybody can laugh. And I'll do only the Swiss German ones.
You guys should all tell me just how great my German is.
You know what? I'll do a French tongue twister or two, not because I feel confident, but because I've honestly not learned any French tongue twisters. Maybe one or two at school.
I can count to 10 in German. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Is that right? Did I do it right? You weren't even listening.
I was listening, but also scrolling. Here's one, which is translated as, did you see the green worm going towards the green glass? Okay. As-tu vu le ver vert allant vers de vert en vert vert?
I'm sorry, but can you just look at that one?
Oh, adorbs. Where's another one? 5 chiens chasser, 6 chasse. That was difficult. I've got to practice some French tongue twisters because it's difficult enough for me to do that, but somebody wants me to speak just a little bit of French also. I will. Je parle un peu français. Je suis content à ce moment-là.
Donnez-moi tout votre son.
Ouais. J'aime bien beaucoup le livre. Qu'est-ce qu'un livre français? I don't know. I don't know a book that I've read recently in French. J'aime bien la langue. Now, let me think of some school things I could talk about. Je fais la vitrine. Je fais la vitrine. Also, all of my like when I speak in French, it's just like a German student who is very shitty is blabbering. That is the impression that I think gives across when I'm speaking French. I really need to practice. It's like, you guys know I'm getting ready for the C2 exam at some point soon, so I'm just
I don't know if
torching
you
it every day.
guys watched Maria's video on how to prep for the C1 exam, but personally it made me feel very confident going into it.
Yeah, well, after watching it, she said like she felt totally prepared for the exam despite like not feeling like she knew that much German. I say you have to already have that one level.
But you guys agree, like
German.
my German's like there.
Sorry, I'm trying to read what you're saying here. Hold on. All I got from that was no Baruski, because my Russian has gotten it non-existent. Okay, meine Freundin ist jetzt weg. Wir können einfach auf Deutsch reden. Einfach so kurz. Ja, wir haben schon ein paar Mal zusammen einige Videos gedreht und ich glaube, sie hat es ja voll drauf, wenn wir zusammen ein Video drehen. Hauptsache, wir kennen einander ziemlich gut und weil wir einander sehr gut kennen, können wir einfach filmen und wir müssen nicht darauf aufpassen, dass wir also einfach weitergehen, weiterrollen, weiterfilmen. Wir können einfach so das sagen, was wir sagen wollen und dann sind wir plötzlich fertig damit. This live chat started about being, what are you doing with your study abroads that you've been on? Now it's gone to shit for the most part, to the person that asked. So, was sind eure Fragen für mich? Würde mich interessieren. Weil natürlich, wenn ich hier ganz allein sitze, ist es mir immer noch ziemlich unbequem irgendwie. Und normalerweise, wenn ich zum Beispiel einen Referat halten muss, das kann ich sehr gut. Ich kann gut vor einem Publikum reden im echten Leben. Aber wenn ich einfach vor der Kamera sitze, dann habe ich nie was zu sagen. Also, I don't know. To the person who's watching this, doesn't know when you're watching this, or why you're watching this. I don't know. I don't know why you're watching this, because it's chill and we're hanging out and it's just like, as Bo Burnham says, I don't want you to leave thinking my teeth or my cheeks hurt from laughing, my hands hurt from clapping. I want you to leave thinking like, meh. So, ich bereite mich im Moment für das Goethe-Zertifikat C2. Weiß nicht, aber wenn ich das mache. Am liebsten würde ich kurz nach Deutschland fliegen, etwa 2-3 Wochen in Berlin bleiben und danach den Examen machen. Aber ich glaube, das kann im Moment nicht stattfinden. Aber ich hab eine Nachricht für euch. Und ich vermute, meine Eltern gucken dieses Video gar nicht an. Die werden nichts davon herauskriegen, bis etwa 2 oder 3 Wochen vorbei sind. So, ich habe meinen Job. Ich habe nur meinen Job nicht mehr. Ich habe Donnerstag mein Boss erzählt, dass ich nicht zurückkomme nach 2 Wochen. Das an der Kindertagesstätte, weil ich kann das nicht mehr durchhalten. I'm talking about my job. Ich kann das nicht mehr durchhalten, weil das habe ich schon. I just said they'll probably not see this. Aber ja,
Can Kingsley come out?
Ja, eine Woche, das 40 Stunden lang ist. Kingsley can come out, yeah. Eine Woche, das 40 Stunden lang ist, wofür ich nicht so viel Geld verdiene, kann ich nicht mehr machen. Also hauptsächlich, ich habe mit meinem Boss geredet, weil ich habe ja eben, ich habe 2 Jobs. Ich arbeite an einer Kindertagesstätte und dann auch in einer Shisha-Kneipe. Und ich habe meinem Boss bei der Shisha-Kneipe erzählt, dass ich meinen Job ja so absage und ob es für mich möglich wäre, dass ich 7 Tage pro Woche dort arbeite. Nur, ja, also in der Zwischenzeit, bis ich meinen nächsten Job kriege. Weil ich würde gern einfach so ein Nanny sein. Das ist so ein Babysitter, die ganze Zeit bei einer anderen Person wohnt oder ja, 40 Stunden, 30 Stunden pro Woche bei einer Familie einfach bleibt, auf die Kinder aufpasst. Und man bekommt ja ziemlich viel Geld dafür hier in Amerika. Das ist ja wirklich bekannt, that, you know, you do nanny work and you get a lot of money under the table and it's totally chill.
I feel like saying it under the table makes it seem like it's like skeevy or something.
Yeah, but like, so in der Zwischenzeit werde ich mehr bei der Shisha-Lounge arbeiten und dann, ich will auch gern Leute Nachhilfe geben, weil wenn ich Nachhilfe gebe, dann muss ich nicht so viel arbeiten, weil ich bekomme mehr pro Stunde. So einfach als Nachhilferin, als bei, ja, also meinen anderen Jobs. Ja. Well, just some questions in German. Ja, und jemand hat gesagt, dass man auch ja mindestens Englisch, Deutsch und hier auch noch Französisch sprechen kann, um einen Job zu kriegen. Ich will mein Französisch verbessern. Ich würde gern versuchen, also das Goethe-Zertifikat B2 zu machen dafür oder wie auch immer das auf Französisch heißt. Aber ich weiß nicht, wann ich das unbedingt schaffen wird. Weil, wie schon gesagt, mein Französisch ist ja ziemlich beschissen. Ich spreche cool Französisch und habe die Grammatik fast ganz komplett vergessen, eigentlich. But yeah, so. Yeah.
No, she is modest.
No, that's the other thing. I'm not modest when I say my French is shitty. I'm not modest.
Nothing
I
about
understand
Maria
a decent
is
amount
modest.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, that's like my situation is mainly like I'm more concerned with going for the C2 exam than going for another exam. But also in 2 weeks, I'm going because it's an excellent time for me to quit because it's like my sister's going to Australia. I'm gonna have the car. Other people at my job are quitting, and therefore, like, they're already hiring new people. And so it just happens that weekend I'm going to do an Irish language class for the whole weekend. And then that'll be like my, like, okay, Abschluss an der Arbeit und jetzt noch wieder ein neuer Anfang. Or ein neues Anfang. That's something that I really am interested in, is like how I timed that to make it just be like, okay, und von jetzt an fängt alles wieder an, gut zu werden. Oh yeah, everybody's quitting their jobs. It's like a boss thing. Everybody's quitting their jobs. Yeah, but ideally I'll be going more into, I'm looking at partner programs with language learning companies and some other people, so that basically I'll have the opportunity to do more freelance work where I'm tutoring, translating, writing, interpreting, doing other stuff. Speaking about the C2 exam though, what is it good for exactly? Asks somebody. The C2 exam is basically a piece of paper that, pardon my language, even though I have cursed this entire time, and literally I'm like the chillest person when it comes to cursing because linguistics and censorship stuff. But like, basically, when you have the C2 certificate, it's like a notice to everybody not to fuck with you. Like, never never criticize my language skills, or like never think that I'm not competent, basically. Which I don't know why. I think it seems like I'm very abrupt about that, and that it's like I'm gonna ready to fight somebody.
Like you.
It's like made for people who it's like you're literally like just hearing that you like, you know, you're, for instance, a person that studied a language 13 years. I have a friend who's in this situation. Studied German for 13 years and is extremely fluent. Like she is C2 level. And I knew her when she was at C1 level, and that was several years ago. And just, you know, you'll hear comments about like, oh, have you heard of like a basic grammatical structure? And she's like, I studied literature intensively in Germany, and like, you need to calm down, you know, with some of that stuff. And that's basically just the thing that's like, if anybody is challenging you with your language skills, it's like, that's pretty much as good as you can get. Like, you know, you can get better, but that's the test that says like, I'm pretty fucking great. Thanks. As modest as you can be about that, you know. But
Someone wants you to speak with a bit of an Irish accent.
what can I say with an Irish accent? See, my Irish accent doesn't. Well, let me think. I better like. See, I can do received pronunciation a lot better than I can do an Irish accent. It just. I have to think of exactly what I want to say. Like.
Oh, excuse me.
Once when I was in Ireland, I was talking to my dad. I called him on the phone, and no, see, I go automatically. It goes into the other one. I have to be there to do my Irish one, or I have to listen to more Irish. I'll listen to TG Caher, listen to them. But like when I actually speak Irish, you know, not my Irish, you know, my Hiberno English accent. Actually speaking Irish, I really am kind of casual about the accent. People have told me my accent's bad before, but they also say that accents don't matter. I do not comment. I do not on people's things because everybody's at different levels and they're all at different.
I would say I'm at a 0 level with German.
Yeah, that's like my Russian. Like it's like certain languages where it's like I can't.
C0.
C0. Oh my gosh, that's maybe even a little high.
Thanks.
You know what? I agree with the person that says Goethe Institute should advertise the C2 exam with that it's get the C2 certificate and no one will fuck with you. Like, agree. Because from my experiences in Germany, like when I told people, oh, it's required that I take the C2 or the C1 exam, it wasn't. My person who was in charge of that thing, who was telling me what I had to do, said that I had to take the B2 one. They're like, aim for B2. Now they had like this was, in my opinion, you know, they had been speaking for like 40 years. However, my other German professor from Germany was like, yeah, it's utterly ridiculous that you would need to take that test. Your language skills are already like, you know, beweisbar. So like, there's no reason you would have to prove yourself. But they made me do it anyways. And basically just, I wasted a lot of accents, or I mean, not a lot of accents. I wasted a lot of money doing that. And a lot of hours where I had to go to a class that was not my, like, I did not fit into that class. Like, it was chill. I was there. Like, I was nice when I was there, but it was also like completely superfluous. I would have learned more if I had that time just by myself to do my own German stuff. And someone's saying, you know, like accents do matter. Some are pleasant to listen to, whereas other are just a pain in the ear. Which accents do you like? Now, just on like the topic of accents, this is a thing that like in general, I'm like accents don't matter. And like linguistically, accents don't matter. Like they develop differently in different areas, and they don't mean that people are more intelligent or less intelligent than anybody else or any of that stuff that comes with that question. But like when you have people that exist under the preconceived set of notions that people with this certain accent are less intelligent, that's the problem. This is the system in which like people actually do think that. Like whether or not that's actually true doesn't matter. People actually think that. As I experienced when I was in Germany, people would shit all over the accents of some people and like say like they're studying German, but their German's like, not good. Or I would hear German students who are speaking English who are studying English, and they would shit on the other students that can't speak English well, because that's what you're studying. You should be proficient in it, you know. But also, I'm like, if you're like, it shouldn't matter, basically, but it does because people are assholes. That's my thoughts. But, you know, accents that I specifically like, though,
Mine.
I like
She's a
I like the
sucker for it.
Savannah, Georgia accent. I like Conchita Wurst's English accent.
Oh,
Pleasant.
it's adorable.
It's pleasant. Like, aim for that kind of. It's very friendly. It's like
Chipper.
That's a good one. Like, that's like, I think when people like, kind of when people imagine like the polite German hospitality person when you go to Germany, like, I would picture a Conchita Wurst accent is like just, oh, and what can I get for you today? And like, it, you know, just, I don't know. It's pretty good on point. But yeah, I know accent. Like, I love accents. I love different Irish accents. Obviously, they're all different areas, and people get really into it. Certain British accents. I really like.
I like the Yorkshire accent.
See, I've heard rumors. I'm not sure exactly where it is off the top of my head, but I've heard rumors that someone still uses thou. There's like 1 or 2 areas in England that thou is still a thing, and I'm like, I want to live where you
Maria's
are.
big into thou.
I'm very into the thou. It's
Casey. I'm sorry.
The
There's
thou
a
or the
dog.
dow?
I'm very. That could be the name of your biography. Thou or Dow.
yeah.
Look at those little feet.
But yeah, also there's some like the I want to go with we'll just call it the New Delhi English accent, because like if you've watched The Big Bang Theory, Raj is supposed to come from there. His sister is supposed to come from New Delhi. I don't know exactly if they're just putting on the accents or if, you know, like, obviously I don't know too much about the actors, but ways that I've seen specifically it listed as the New Delhi accent portrayed in different films. I've always found that to be a cool accent. Specifically. That was like really specific. But
I'm sorry, there's a dog over here. I can't pay attention.
But yeah, what are your guys' favorite accents or accents that you hate? I mean, like, as much as I hate to shit talk accents because of linguistics stuff, it's like there are some accents that I'm just like, you know, this horror face.
They say
a
that
little
like
bit, but I wouldn't
and
poison myself
are,
about
like, the
that
spots
too much.
in the U.S. that like they say have like no accent, so to speak.
Yeah, the Midwest.
And that's why they like are the ones that do like telemarketing calls and stuff.
Yeah.
I only know this because my friend who studied abroad in China with me was from Nebraska. And he would make fun of my accent. He's like, I have the pure accent.
Ja. Eine Frage für mich wird, ja, werde ich irgendwann ein Fan-Treffen machen und wenn ja, dann wann? Das weiß ich nicht ganz genau. Also ich habe keinen Plan. Ich weiß nicht, wenn ich wieder in Deutschland bin. Also hoffentlich bin ich ab September, ab Oktober wieder in Deutschland, um entweder zu lernen oder ja, ein Praktikum zu machen. Das würde mich gefallen. Aber ich weiß nicht ganz genau, das könnte auch Januar sein. Also ich muss erst etwas Geld verdienen in der Zwischenzeit. Und wenn ich dann wieder in Deutschland bin, dann würde ich natürlich ein Fan-Treffen machen. Ich finde es ziemlich ahnungslos, ein Fan-Treffen in Amerika zu machen, weil es gibt nicht so viele Leute, die mich anschauen aus Amerika. Nur einige Polyglots, einige Leute, die Deutsch lernen. Und das, ja. So. That dog is a little shit. He never wants to go inside. He's just standing there, but, you know. So, wenn ich wieder in Deutschland bin, oder Österreich, oder der Schweiz, irgendwo in Europa, wenn ich weiß ja ganz Bescheid, dass es einige Zuschauer gibt in der Stadt, würde ich würde das vielleicht kein ja, kein Fan-Treffen nennen. Wir könnten das einfach ein Polyglot-Gathering nennen oder sowas. Polyglot-Treffen.
When will my reflection
Okay.
show?
So, someone said that if I want, we'll go to Berlin and then we can all go to the Feel It All location for the Tokyo Hotel. You know. Würde ich gern machen. Wir wären auf jeden Fall mit dabei. Right? You would go to that? Ich meine, wir sind großer Fans von Tokyo Hotel. Immer noch. Und wir warten, bis sie wieder ein Tour in Amerika machen. Also, hoffentlich.
That person secretly. Okay.
Sie will wissen, ob du becounted bist. No shit. Yeah, but
See, I feel like I wouldn't want to see Tokyo Hotel in Germany. Well, okay.
they were great.
Okay, but originally my reasoning was because before they had like their English set list and their German set list. Now their album it's just in English. But I was like, before, if I went to see them in Germany, like they probably would have only sang and spoken in German. Whereas like if I see them in America, they're going to be in English where I can understand them. Or I could learn German. An entire language just to see one concert.
You know what? Pretty much. Like, honestly, this is the scenario.
Tumblr post where it talks about like the camera thing on Google Translate now, like on your phone, and it's like, or you could just learn the damn language. It's like, oh right, let me learn an entire language to read this one sign.
Yeah. Yeah, someone says, come to Hamburg, we'll go to the Reeperbahn. I've never been there. It's the red light district where you're supposed to go. See, an old boyfriend of mine promised her that when she would visit Germany, because he would show it to her, and that never happened. So, you know, what are you going to do?
I live a very sheltered life in America, and I feel like the red light district in Hamburg is just calling to me.
I feel like if I were at the red light district in Hamburg, I would expect Sammy Deluxe to be there because I'm pretty sure he might still live there. I mean, he's pleasant. I was listening to Schwarz-Weiß in the last, last time I was driving on a road trip. Schwarz-Weiß.
So I want someone to drive. Wait,
Deutschrap
if I come to Germany, someone needs to drive me on the Autobahn.
Ich.
No, not Maria.
Yeah.
She's a bad driver.
Überhaupt nicht. Someone says you act overly friendly.
Me?
Yeah.
With you?
Whereas I think you're a bitch. No,
I am. I just want you guys to like me. But okay, I have a history of German people not taking well to my personality. Don't I?
I'm trying to go through the list. I'm like,
the German guys I knew in China, they didn't like me.
Well, because you said you don't look like Bill Kaulitz. I'm just kidding.
Your former boyfriend, not so much. My advisor, not
you
so
know
much.
What? You know what? Yeah, she has a bad
The
track.
only German people I've met, they don't find me appealing as a person.
Yeah, too American.
So I don't know if it's just something about me as a person that like clashes with the German culture, if it's just the people I've met.
Yeah, I don't know. It happens because I'm always telling people, well, maybe we've gotten to that point. Why am I a German person?
Why are you a German person?
Because you were saying earlier how like I am not
socially retarded. So
yeah.
To put it bluntly. So Maria like doesn't operate on the same social
American
level that like the rest of our friends do, and when I like our American friends, like our roommates from college and stuff, and it's always like, okay, like Maria's that weird one, or like, can I give like the specific example kind of?
What was the specific
So
one?
we were trying to make friends with another, or we were trying to make plans with another friend this weekend, and it's kind of up to Maria because like I'm at her house to like make that work, and it ended up not working out for several different reasons. But I was trying to explain to this person, I was like, sorry, like you kind of have to work with Maria sometimes because she's a little bit bad at making plans, and like just some people
in Germany, I'm great at making plans. With my friends here, I'm like in my town, I'm the one that plans things. It's just I don't have an iPhone or internet access 100% of the time to be like super,
But whose
on
fault
point,
is that? Anyway, so
I'm not that wealthy.
I was
So,
explaining to
by not
the
that, I
rest
mean
of like
not at
our
all.
friend group, like our roommates, being like, oh, so like this other person that we were trying to make plans with, and I like it's not gonna work out because like I was trying to explain to them like Maria like operates like on a different social mindset than like the typical American. And our one roommate was like, oh, well, like, did you explain to this other person that Maria, like in her native country of Germany, that's just not how they do it? Because we make the
I'm
joke,
used to,
like anytime Maria does something that's like not typically American and what we perceive as more German, even though I would say you're our main filter into the German culture.
yeah.
Like, we're just like, oh, well, in Maria's native country of Germany, like, that's how they do it.
Yeah, well, I know, like, one of the things that this is one of the most difficult things that it's been for me to understand is I even did research on this, like, and this is, I read a study, it was someone from Spain, someone from Russia, and someone from the United States talking about trying to get a job in Germany and what it was like for them and what they noticed and stuff, and I noticed the same things. Was like, I am of the typical standpoint that you should only apply for jobs that you're qualified for. So around here, people are telling me, oh, well, you have a college degree, get a job as a secretary. And I say, oh, I'm not trained in Microsoft Office. I can't get a job in that. I would have to take a, computer seminar first. And people said, no, you don't need to do that. They'll just teach you on the job. They'll teach you what exactly you have to do. And then that's it for the most part. Now, I'm just like, no, but I'm not qualified for that. I have to do a study or take some kind of program, whatever. It's like, I'm like, here, apparently everyone tells me you can get a job doing literally anything. And I'm like, you can, it's impossible. And they say, no, it actually is possible. And that's like, I think a very American thing that I just cannot understand is just applying for a job that's not somehow related to my field. Even working at the hookah lounge, that applies with how popular hookah is in Germany. It's like, if I would ever be a student in Germany and need a part-time job and work at like, whatever hookah bar, I have experience to do that. It's like, I thought about that before I started working there. It wasn't just like, oh, I got free hookah. Yes, he is.
I find that appealing in a person.
Yeah, but I was saying how, like, everyone tells me to apply for any job, and I'm like, but I'm not qualified. And they're like, but you are, though. And I'm like, but no.
You see, I get in that mindset of, like, I don't know how to do half these things that they're looking for. And I'm like, well, the worst they can say is no. And, like, the one time I did that when I applied for a job, and I was like, I don't got half of what they're looking for, but we'll try it. I got it.
Yeah.
I mean, what are they going to do? Sit around the, lounge, drinking their coffee and, like, making fun of your resume, being like, this bitch thinks she's got a chance.
Yeah, well, okay. Somebody asked, is it possible to Skype with me? Ich bin auf Skype, aber im Moment nutze ich mein Skype nur für Nachhilfe. Wenn ihr Nachhilfe wollt, 10 Euro pro Stunde, dann sagt Bescheid. Aber ich bekomme viele Nachrichten von Leuten, die mit mir einfach chatten wollen. Und ich kann das nicht mit jeder Person machen, weil das, ich habe nicht so viel Zeit dafür. Wie schon gesagt, ich arbeite im Moment 70 Stunden pro Woche. Ab 2 Wochen weiß ich nicht ganz genau, weil, wie schon gesagt, ich habe mein Boss erzählt, dass ich nicht mehr arbeite, so an der Jobstelle. So, wir werden sehen, wenn ich das arrangieren könnte, würde ich gern einige Google Hangouts mit Leuten machen. Also es gefällt mir zum Beispiel, oder es würde mich gefallen, wenn ich zum Beispiel eine Literaturwoche machen könnte. Jeder Person, okay, wir lesen eine Kurzgeschichte und Sonntag oder sonst am Wochenende irgendwann werden wir das Buch oder die Geschichte besprechen. Das wird mich gefallen. Aber ich weiß nicht, wie viele Leute sich dafür interessieren würden und wie das alles auf Google Plus funktioniert. Aber ich glaube, wir könnten etwas Tolles machen. Also ab und zu einige Polyglot Live-Chats machen. Wenn ihr selbst YouTuber seid oder selbst mit Fremdsprachen arbeiten, könnt ihr mir eine Nachricht schicken, egal auf YouTube, Facebook, wo immer. Weil ja, ich würde gern einen Live-Chat machen, auch wenn es nur ich und 3 anderen YouTuber im Sprachenlernbereich für euch. Das wäre cool. Hallo, Brüderchen. Sag mal Hallo.
Oh, are you guys having a little picnic?
Stop. Somebody asked me how I
your former girlfriend there wants to be let inside the house.
Yeah, somebody said how do I keep up with 70 hours of work a week?
You don't.
You go crazy and you cry.
But Maria was already crazy.
I'm used to not sleeping this many hours. It's just that, like, I wish they were different hours, mainly. And that's why I'm glad I only have 2 weeks left. The main thing with 70 hours of week, it's like, of work, it's, you just always have to have your stuff organized. Like, I have to set out all of my clothes, all of my food, everything in advance. Otherwise, I will not make it anyway. Someone wanted to know, what did my brother say off camera? We said to come over and say hi, and he said to suck his nuts. So, yeah.
Hallo Leute, ich bin meine Ballsack.
You know what? I hope you all can hear that. That's too funny. And with working less, like, that's my whole goal. My goal is quit my job that's 40 hours a week, temporarily work more at the hookah lounge, while also applying to be doing nanny work, to do translating, interpreting, online promotions, where like I said, I'm getting in with some partner programs right now, which should be beneficial to you guys. I mean, I'm not just picking out random ass ones. Like, it's things that have to do with language learning or being a student. Except for, I do want to get in with some like atheist apparel and a couple other people for my second channel if I can, because that would be neat for me.
Everyone wants to see John.
Hey, John, come make a guest star appearance, because Michelle was already here.
Everyone wants to see you.
What?
Everyone
Just
wants
come
you
and
to
say
see
hello.
you.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
He's
not a-
16. He's too cool to be here.
You're so cool. I'm just thinking about.
Hello. Who's this?
This is everybody.
Hey, everybody. How's it
It's
going?
21 people watching.
21
people.
All right, that's everybody. We're all here.
Gang's
Good.
all here. I'm just thinking of SpongeBob with like his finger puppets.
Tell everybody what it is you said over there, because they were curious.
Hallo Leute, ich bin in meiner Ballsack.
Something about licking your scrotum.
Yeah, we all have potty mouths.
Excuse
The
you. My
cat
parents might
everyone.
watch this.
Yours?
Yes.
I doubt they will.
Yeah, they're gonna watch, what is it, like 80, 100 hours now that we've been on? They're gonna watch it.
Just
Yeah.
kidding. I'm an orphan.
You guys have been on forever.
I know, it's been like 3 hours.
Yeah,
I'm
the sun
starving.
is like, yeah, I'm
I
The
wanna
actually,
go on
sun
the
was over
trampoline.
there
Hey, can we
when
go on
we
the
started.
trampoline?
you guys can go on the trampoline. I mean, I'll,
Well, we're having a gay picnic.
Can we just go on the trampoline?
Do you want to show the viewers? I'll do some backflips for you guys.
You want to watch John on the trampoline?
Just tilt the computer.
you know what? Let's go for a trip.
I'll do a flip.
This is gonna be pleasant for y'all.
I was gonna take a
Sorry,
step.
I'm sorry. I'll hurry.
All right. Here, you go ahead of me, and I'll follow
We've
you.
heard of the women's work.
Welcome to, this is my backyard. Welcome. Here's
You're
my
giving
backyard.
away your location.
Yo, check me out.
That's where we were chilling. We were sitting on blankets because those are so dumb, the seats, but
I haven't been on this thing in like 30 years. Shit, bro.
do not try this at home.
But John's at his home and he's trying it.
He's not trying it. He can already do it.
All I can do is jump. Oh my god.
Wait, do that thing that you were doing earlier, like the what was it? Double backflip layout, or
Double backflip layout.
what was it that you were saying earlier from the window?
Oh, I did 2 side flips in a row.
Oh,
All right, check this out.
you can just hop off the trampoline and do that.
Oh, that was fun. Kung Fu movie.
I missed it. Wait, I missed it. Do it again so I can actually watch. I was watching on the screen and I can't see it because of the glare.
Hey.
Nice. But yeah, that's how it is here.
Oh shit!
John is someone said it looked dangerous what he was doing. He's been doing gymnastics since he was like 8 or something. So he does gymnastics, and then he's also done some like martial arts gymnastics-y stuff. Not that he's in martial arts, but just partially. And and okay, I'll wrap it up. But yeah, so he's been doing it for a very long time, and it's pretty chill when he does that kind of stuff. It makes people nervous though sometimes too. But the move, it's called a side flip, at least according to him. It's called a side flip. According to me, that's a cop-out name for naming something if you generally don't know what it's called. But yeah. Well, so
we're talking.
Quote unquote favorite comment. Something about licking his scrotum.
some
Oh wow!
you
So
look
I just
like
get
you're,
cut out now.
fire bending. That good. We all watch Avatar in this house, so like that's a good thing to know. But I think we're gonna, end it on a high note or on a flip note, or I can't even think of a pun. But I enjoyed having this live chat with you guys and talking, first on topic. But I
And
said
then not so much.
I think I said something. I said we could talk on many topics in this video. So thank you, Julie, for joining me today, for coming all the way up from Baltimore to chillax.
The cat got out.
Shit.
There's a cat in a tree. There's a cat in the tree.
Bring him to me.
You want him?
Yes.
Wait, everyone wants to see the cat. No,
Yeah,
bring me the cat.
Hey, bring me my hat.
He's a poop. I want to hold him. No, give me the cat. Is he playing music?
Sorry.
Yeah, we're weird.
Ja. Sein Geburtstag war letzte Woche. Und hat this new collar gekriegt. Und findet es so schön.
This is Leo.
Leo Hector, because he's named after Prince Hector of Troy. Oh, bitte make me
Kitty got a bit of an attitude.
Hey.
You
Normally
guys should
he's
leave
super nice
Maria
to me.
comments and let her know that if you want to see me in my videos.
Yeah, we can arrange this. I mean, the summer's going to be happening. We can arrange stuff. John, can you put him in the house?
And I can put him in the house.
Now
He's trying to have
look
a
at that
romantic
look.
pic-
He's like so shocked. The cat's name is Leo Hector, like I was saying, because Leo was named that from somebody else. Hector because
Genevieve named him. didn't she?
we needed the. I'm saying this like we needed it. We did not need it. We wanted him to be named after Prince Hector of Troy because he's regal and he's got the beard. Like he pulls off the Hector look. And I love Prince Hector. Also, he's one of my favorite characters in the Iliad. So, yeah. But yeah, I think that's it. We really, it's getting a bit. I haven't had breakfast yet.
And it's like 3 p.m.
It's 3 p.m. and I haven't had breakfast, and we're gonna drive a ways to go out to lunch. So that is our current situation. But yeah,
It was
As I got
nice
the
to
hiccups.
meet you guys.
I had fun chatting. I hope you guys had fun chatting. Always, enjoy the craziness that ensues in my videos because it just shit happens.
Give that person a shout out. I like them. The one who commented that I'm interesting. You're interesting too.
See, at first I thought that was in reference to the cat, though. That the cat was funny and interesting to listen to. And I was like,
Oh.
well, yeah, he's adorable.
He's a cat!
All right, so thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you either this week or the following week. Like I said, once I am finished at work, I will have ample more time to be actually producing content because I will have ample more time because I'm not working 70 hours a week. So, yeah, that's my current situation. But
Tschüss.
I'll see you guys soon. Cheers.
再见.
May you eat it.
Oh my gosh.
Bye.